payments. Call now to see what your options are. Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Attention veterans of Middle Tennessee. Little Guys Movers wants to put your hard-earned skills and leadership talent to work with your very own Little Guys Movers franchise. Be your own boss and build a team with standards as high as your own, and all while serving your community with the same hustle that you served your country. Use your existing 401k to invest in yourself. Financing options are available. Start a fulfilling, profitable new chapter of your life as a member of a team with 30-plus years of growth and good times at littleguysfranchise.com. That's littleguysfranchise.com.
Zines First is the official sign company for 1025 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Hey, it's Elijah Campbell from Darren, Donick, and Chase, and I got my radio start right here as an intern at ESPN 1025 The Game. It was an excellent experience, and we're now looking for new interns. If you think that's you, go ahead and send your resume over to together@cromwellmedia.com to apply.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, with Darren, Donick, and Chase middays from 10 to 2. Talk amongst themselves.
It's not a star-studded group. They're not all there.
ESPN 1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 1025 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the offices of Amanda Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. Caroline Fenton is here today. Hello, Caroline.
Hello, how we doing?
Fantastic, outstanding. Did you have a good time without me?
I had a great time without you.
Did you?
I had a great time. We had a blast. Ian and I, Elijah, we had a great time.
So
you missed out.
I went on YouTube at one point during the day, and my YouTube suggestion was our show. And I went over and I saw what you guys were talking about, though I didn't click it because I went and watched something else. But I saw at the bottom it said, "Is a statue for Pekka too much?" And I was like, "Ooh, what was your take?"
Well, I opened it and I said I was watching Pekka Rinne's retirement ceremony with a certain someone who I will not name because he's not here today to defend himself.
Oh, you said that?
I did.
Oh, okay.
And I think everyone kind of understood that that was you. And I said that he said it was too much. And I said, normally.
Thanks for throwing me under the bus.
Well, I didn't throw you under the bus on Friday. I am now because you're here to defend yourself. I said, normally I live in the camp of you got to do something really freaking spectacular to have a statue. You got to win championships. You have to define the organization. You have to define the franchise. And normally I am not pro a statue for someone who did not win a championship, but Pekka was my one exception.
Why?
Because Pekka put the Predators on the map. Would the Predators still be in Nashville if it weren't for Pekka Rinne?
Probably.
Would they?
I mean,
I think you can make the argument that they might not be.
Now, I'm going to tell you something. Because I'm going to get to this Ukraine stuff here for a second. And I know that, and again, I'm not getting into like the, should our government, their government, I'm not getting into that. Because there's a really close to home story that I want to start the show on. But, like, when I was a sophomore in high school, now, I will say this knowing the fact that I, in fact, do this. But when I was a sophomore in high school, I wrote a research paper about Winston Churchill. And it had to be like 8 or 9 pages. And I think I got to like 6 or 7. And I don't know if you guys know me, but I'm not a bad BSer. So I just started BSing on this paper, right? Like just, if it wasn't for Winston Churchill, then the West would have totally fallen, like all this kind of stuff, right? Like then Europe would have fallen and Hitler would be like whatever.
Right.
So my teacher, Mr. Haber at USN, put a giant red X.
He saw through your BS?
Yes.
Classic.
And now I feel like people make arguments like, without this person, it's like, well, you don't know that.
We don't? No.
So I'm saying that. Now, I do want to start on this today, which is, again, like, I'm not going to sit up here and talk global politics. First of all, I'm a sportscaster. I'm not a politician. And I'm also not a political commentator. And quite frankly, I know what I'm not educated in. I know what I am educated in. I don't know about you over the weekend. I couldn't stop watching a lot of this Ukraine stuff. Honest to God, I'm rooting like hell for Ukraine. Mm-hmm. I'm so impressed that they're still fighting. I feel like this is like, I don't know. I can't turn it off. But I got caught, Twitter, I'm on Sometimes bad, sometimes good. And there is a Titans fan who is American by the name of Eddie O'Reilly. And Eddie, I believe, now I just found out, and I hate to be rude, I just found out about Eddie O'Reilly on Saturday. Because a bunch of Titan fans were tweeting about Eddie O'Reilly, this trapped Titans fan in the Ukraine. And so I just started looking at his page. And I mean, I got to tell you, I hope people understand something about being American. Like if you're born American, like how lucky you really are. And I think there's two sets of people. They're the people that are born American and are like, thank goodness I was born in a democracy and I was born in a place where I can say that I love the president or I hate the president, and I was born in a place where I can vote against the president, and I was born in a place where I can go do whatever I want to do. I mean, look, I'm a sports talk radio host. I grew up rooting on the Titans and the Predators. I get to complain about whatever I don't like about them. I get to cheer whatever I do like about them on a daily basis. You don't get to do that if you're born in Tanzania, right? Mm-hmm. Like they don't have sports talk radio in Cambodia. So it's like those things kind of open your eyes. The other is the person who's born in America and feels like they're entitled because they were born in America. And I certainly don't feel that way. So Eddie O'Reilly is an American and he's a Titans fan. And if you go look at his Twitter, they escaped Ukraine yesterday via bus. And they got to Romania. And it was like an all-day bus trip. And luckily they got out because apparently Kyiv is now totally surrounded by Russian troops. Mm-hmm. So you couldn't get the bus out yesterday. And it was when I was looking at his Twitter on Saturday that it hit me. Saturday night I went to the Stadium Series game. And after the Stadium Series game, I got home and I saw this on Twitter. And so these are a couple videos that he posted. This was when the air sirens were going off because of the missiles and everything else. This is Eddie O'Reilly, a Titans fan in the Ukraine with his wife, who I believe is Ukrainian, and his kid.
Just a quick update. I know I was talking to some of you guys just a minute ago. We just had sirens, so we had to run to the underground. We're here now, so we should be pretty safe. This is the corner that we sit in. There's the underground for the most part. Anyways, just a quick update. Thanks for the prayers. Talk later.
So, I mean, and when you see the video, it's obviously, they're in like a parking garage and they're showing this. And then after they got the all clear, he decided on Saturday night that they had had enough. They were getting out. This is what's.
Hey, we're walking home now. The siren for all clear has gone off. A little bit of under an hour. We will try to get some sleep. Hopefully there's not another siren for a couple of hours so we can sleep a little bit. Just an update, my wife finally agreed. We are going to the train station first thing tomorrow morning, and we're just going to sit there until we find a train that will have a space for us. It's almost impossible to find a ticket online though, so we're just going to be sitting there all day until the train pops up. Anyways, we'll talk later. Going to sleep. Good night.
So the next morning they woke up, they took a bus instead of a train. They got to Romania. Now they're trying to relocate to Germany and then kind of see how everything plays out before trying to go back home. So as of right now, they really don't have anything. And so there's a GoFundMe out there, and I tweeted about it yesterday, and I'm going to retweet the link right now at Jared Stillman. And again, like this is not, and it's pinned at the top of my profile, by the way, as well. I've donated into it. I saw the president of the Titans, Burke Nihill, donated into it. I was looking at this guy's Twitter to see like what kind of guy he was like before all this. He was posting like videos of him playing the Titans on Madden. And so I saw this and I thought to myself, like, look, like there's really not a lot I can do. But at the end of the day, the radio show, I feel like, is for the fans. This radio show is not for me, although sometimes it does feel like it is kind of an avenue for me to vent about whatever I'm upset with as far as the Titans or the Predators or the SEC or today the baseball owners or whatever. Like whatever I'm upset about, I get to get on the air and yell about it, or I get to, praise whatever I like. But ultimately, this show is for the fans. And we wouldn't be still doing this show for as long as we've done it. Ian and I, and obviously Floyd and now Caroline, like we wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for you. And I was thinking about it today. So I donated $1,000. And honestly, like whatever you can donate, because they've got a goal of $10,000. And I think they've raised like $4,000 and change. I feel like we've got $6,000 out there today. I mean, and I'm not saying one person has got to donate $6,000. I'm not saying that, you know, if it's $5, $1, $2, just click on that, the GoFundMe page, donate whatever you can. This guy, again, is a Titans fan. And this is a show that, like I say it's for the fans. He is a Titans fan who has just fled with his wife and kid from the Ukraine. And they are now in Romania, and they are trying to go to Germany. And it's just a normal guy just like me and you. And so I saw that Burke Nihill donated, the president of the Titans, and a lot of fans don't know him because they will get to know him more as the stadium thing happens because he's going to be the guy who's handling most of that probably. But, I mean, I am glad to see the Titans get behind this. But, I mean, this is a show for the fans. So if you're a Titans fan, he's a Titans fan, and it really got to me yesterday. And I thought to myself, I'm like, you know, look, do we do this? Like, do we come on the air and talk about this? And do we, you know, essentially solicit donations or tell people, hey, go to my Twitter, @JaredStillman. There's a GoFundMe for it. You can click right there, donate $1, donate $2, whatever you want. Do we do that? And ultimately, I said this. And while I don't like doing this because I never knew how the old man was going to react, I'm like, would Floyd be proud of me for doing this? And I think the answer is yes. You know, Floyd one time told me that people would come up to him and they would say, you know, hey, this is what I think you should do with the team. And he would say to that person, are you a season ticket holder? And if they said no, then he'd be like, you tell me a job where they listen to people that aren't paying customers. And I used to always think that was funny. But in this industry, this job, this is about the fans. Sports talk radio is not popular because of the host. Sports talk radio is popular because of the fans. And this guy is a Titan fan. And this is a show that's for the fans. And, again, maybe it's like a level of guilt I feel, like having watched all this stuff in the Ukraine, knowing that I was born in America, knowing that deep down inside the chances of me ever facing anything like what most of the world has to face on a daily basis is almost zero. But, you know, following it throughout the weekend and then seeing the fact that he got to Romania and that he and his family are safe, I mean, somebody was cutting onions in the house yesterday. So I just want to start on that. You got anything to add?
I just think it's really wonderful that you're bringing this to life because, admittedly, I did not know that this was going on. And I think that sports are such a wonderful tool to bring people together. So to be able to, you know, feel kind of like the Titan support across the world in war-stricken Ukraine, I think is a really wonderful thing. And if you're willing and able, I absolutely do encourage people to donate what they can.
And again, I mean, look, I know he's one of hundreds of thousands of people that have fled the Ukraine. And I get it. And we can't donate to all of them. And we wish we could. And we know how deadly this is. And by the way, while we're at this today, can we give like a shout out to the sports leagues? Because I feel like the sports leagues, do you see FIFA tonight's essentially going to announce that they're banning Russia from the World Cup?
Mm-hmm. I've seen that.
That hockey's kicking them out. And, I mean, like, you know, give a shout out to the sports world there. I'm not one to sit here and tell you, like, tomorrow's the State of the Union. I ain't breaking it down on the Stillman and Company radio show. But to me, this is a Titan fan. And, you know, look, I grew up a Titan fan. A lot of us are Titans fans. People that listen to the show are Titans fans. And so anything you can do, and I will say this, and I need to go ahead and start looking at this now so I can make sure I do this. Anybody who donates while we're on the air, the GoFundMe link is on my Twitter, @JaredStillman. Anybody who donates while we're on the air, they're getting a shout-out today. We'll do shout-outs once an hour on this. So everybody's getting a shout-out if you donate. It could be $1. It could be $100,000. Everybody's getting a shout-out. So shout-out to all the people that already donated. And, again, that's my Twitter where you can find it. It's GoFundMe. Again, the guy's name is Eddie O'Reilly. He's an American who is stuck in the Ukraine, and we are thinking about him and so thrilled that he was able to get to Romania and hopefully Germany. And, look, I will say this, going back to things that I've never had to go through, I'm guessing life as a refugee is something that, knock on wood, I'll never have to experience. But it's certainly something that I got a lot of respect for the people that have gone through this. And I got a lot of freaking respect for those people in Ukraine that are just like me, that are 32 years old, working some bullcrap job like I work, that all of a sudden it's like, hey, here's a gun. I got a lot of respect for those people. So there's a Titans fan stuck over there. Hopefully Titan fans can help him out. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. I want to start on that. Now, the Stadium Series game. I went to it. You went to it. I got thoughts from the game. I got thoughts about the game. We'll just get to that next, and your thoughts as well. 615-737-1025. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. I love my friends at Hiller. Today is the last day of February, so get in on this now. They extended their lower 2021 pricing through all of January to help customers tackle necessary replacements. And there was so much demand that they extended the special for the entire month. But the month's almost over. This will be the lowest pricing expected all year, and you've noticed all the inventory shortages and empty shelves everywhere, and now there are serious shortages on equipment and products. So HVAC systems, tankless water heaters, and generators are going to be extremely limited this year. And by the way, I don't know if you guys, again, are following the world. It ain't getting any easier right now. So because of supply issues and the rising cost of parts, manufacturers are rapidly increasing the price of this equipment. So if you need a replacement, you better call Hiller today. Do not wait until you're out of options. Their work is backed by the Happy You'll Be Your Services free guarantee, and you can learn more at happyhiller.com. They're proud supporters of the Nashville Predators, the Tennessee Volunteers, and the Vanderbilt Commodores, and they take great care of my home, and they can do the same for you. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Every Friday at 8:30 on Robbie and Rex Show, we talk with the legend, Terry Chris, about all things Nashville Predators, presented by Copper Branch on ESPN 1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Victory Award-winning New Amsterdam Vodka knows all about it, but in life, it's not always so clear. So New Amsterdam Vodka believes that in life, you've got to find your own wins. You've got to overcome your fears, go all in, even when you've got nothing at all. Find your wins. And when you do, raise that glass of New Amsterdam Vodka in victory. You've earned it. New Amsterdam Spirits Company, Modesto, California.
At Copper Branch, they live life to the fullest. Food is your energy and your life. Located in the heart of downtown Nashville, their goal is to serve you, your friends, and family quality, great-tasting, plant-based power foods. Visit Copper Branch at 601 Church Street for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with convenient and validated parking during library hours, and download their app for curbside pickup. Or come out for songwriter and live music nights several times throughout the week to empower, energize, and feel your best. Visit Copper Branch today.
Did you start someone else's diet and quit? Hi, this is Zola from PlanZDiet.com. Was it the cravings that drove you nuts, the crabbiness? Was the food just plain bad? Or did you figure out that at the rate you were losing, that this was going to cost you a fortune? I don't blame you for quitting. I hear these stories all the time. But I can fix that. For the cravings and the crabbiness, I developed the ZR50 Crave Control Spray. Use it 4 times a day and voila! Problem solved. I can fix the bad food problem, too. On Plan Z, you're going to eat real food from your grocery store. I provide over 900 recipes to keep you from being bored. Everything from comfort food to gourmet. And they are easy. They take less time than some drive-through lines. And most of those diets where you lose a pound a week actually end up costing you thousands. That's too slow and too expensive. Our average dieter loses 31 pounds in 50 days. Start now and get your body back by summer. Easy payment plans are available. PlanZDiet.com. Conquer the crave.
For the love of Tennessee at dawn. For the love of the fight. For the love of having nowhere else you'd rather be. For the love of Tennessee. Travel safe. Brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Sorelli, now right side, setting and shooting, and the rebound and the score! Tanner Janot! A power play goal. The Predators in front, 1-0.
That put it at the net and crashed. Tanner Janot.
It's 2 non-traditional hockey markets, but I think when you look at the 2 different organizations, the teams that they built, the success that both of them have, and the fan bases up from both teams are, passionate about about their team, about the players, and it takes. I thought the Nashville fans were unbelievable. The atmosphere was fantastic, but also the Tampa Bay fans. I mean, they have a lot to be proud of. They got a great team. They've had a lot of success, and they have a strong following. And I think it's great. I think it's great for the game. And there's a lot of hockey in the U.S. and non-traditional hockey markets that I think help grow the game and grow the sport. It's no different than why we go over sometimes to Europe and play in the European games early in the year. You're trying to grow the game, grow the NHL, market the players, and it's nice to see two non-traditional hockey markets as passionate and successful organizations as they are.
There you go. That was John Hines, coach of the Predators, after the game the other night, the Stadium Series game. I gotta say this. So I went to the game on Saturday.
Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was fine.
Good.
So here's my thing on the Stadium Series. I thought it was a good night for Nashville. I'm sure the city made some money, which was good. There were a lot of fans from out of town. There were a lot of Lightning fans there. But I kind of think in a football stadium, you're probably always going to have a lot of the other team's fans, right?
Yes,
there
especially
were a ton of Predators fans at the Winter Classic.
Because it's the kind of thing that doesn't happen every year, doesn't happen every week. It's a special thing.
Sure.
So I have to guess that if this game was being played in Tampa, plenty of Predators fans would be packed into that stadium.
Sure. 2 years ago, plenty of Predators fans ended up in Dallas. I mean, I think everybody I know went to Dallas for the Winter Classic.
Why wouldn't you? It's cool.
I was offered the opportunity to go to the Winter Classic, and I declined.
Well, you hate things that are fun.
No, I wanted to do New Year's Eve instead.
Okay.
So I did,
Did you have a fun New Year's Eve?
Well, this was back in the day of the big backdrop with the Jared Stillman New Year's Eve parties.
Ooh,
before
yes,
I
yes,
became a
yes.
hermit. I'm like an old man now. So I don't enjoy like the things that I used to enjoy. Like COVID took me from like, I wasn't like a crazy partier all the time, but I was definitely more adventurous pre-COVID.
Uh-huh.
And COVID took
Rowdy.
me from that to like, hey, you can go to bed at 9:30 on a Friday night. and I'm telling you, it got me. And we'll get into this later because I do want to talk about this later. But here's my thing about the Stadium Series game. I went. I'm glad I went. I had an okay time, good time, fine. If we have another one, my response will be, you guys have fun. I'll
Why?
watch on TV.
Why?
Because I had good seats, and I'm not saying you're like trying to brag, but I was sitting in the good seats.
Yeah.
I had seats that would be considered like decent seats for a Titans game, which, you had like very similar seats on the opposite end of me.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't see. And what I could see, I had to like kind of look around, like, pop my head like, okay, I could like see certain angles of things, but I couldn't see other things. And then also there's something weird about and I noticed because I've been to a Final Four, I've been to 2 Final Fours in domes. And I noticed the same thing where you feel like you are so freaking far away.
Mm-hmm.
And like you can't hear like the sound of a swish in basketball.
Right.
You can't hear like the puck, and I think they realized at about the first period that it wasn't loud enough because the PA announcements weren't loud enough. And you could tell like in the second period and third period, and you could hear on like the speakers the sound effects of the game, but you couldn't necessarily hear them like when you're at the game, which again is to be expected because it's
in
a
much
football
larger
stadium
environment.
But between it being cold and the fact that Nissan Stadium is kind of a crap hole, which we have discussed, again, it's our crap hole, but it's kind of a crap hole
nonetheless.
And it's like Nissan Stadium is a pain in the ass stadium.
Oh, it is such just a pain to get there, to walk to your seats. The traffic flow, like the foot pattern is really just frustrating.
Parking sucks.
Parking sucks.
Like the ingress, egress. The actual parking itself's not bad, but the getting in and getting out. I mean, it took me like an hour and a half to get home.
It's a pain. It's a pain.
And I know what I'm doing when it comes to Nissan Stadium.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm not somebody who's, I've been going to Titans games for 25 years. I know how to get in and out of that stadium. But and again, maybe I just sound like I'm complaining, which, again, I unfortunately do a fair share of.
That you do.
But and I'm not saying I didn't have a good time. I had a good time. I did. I was glad we did it. It was cool to be a part of an event the first time that we did it. And I thought both the fans, the Lightning fans and the Predators fans, I thought were excited to be there. I thought they respected each other. I thought the teams respected each other. Like, it was a fun game. It was a fun event. It was a fun thing to do. But I'm probably not going to do that again. Like, it's just not worth everything, that it takes to do that when you can watch on TV and you can see everything that's on TV. Like, you and I were talking about this off air. I thought, like, if you're not in the lower level for this, because I've sat in the 300s for a Final Four before, and I've sat in the lower level for a Final Four before. And honestly, the lower level for the Final Four, we were in, like, one of the end zones.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was, like, 500 yards away from the actual basketball game. When I was up in the 300 levels, I thought the players looked like ants, and you couldn't feel the atmosphere of the basketball game. Kind of felt a little similar to this about not feeling the atmosphere of the hockey game. And it's like, if you're spending money on tickets to go do that, like, it's got to be a better experience than when you're going to the game at the arena, and it's not. And so for me, again, I had a good time. I am not poo-pooing this. I'm glad we did it. I thought the Preds did a great job putting it on. I have to say, this is just me. And again, I think this is a me thing and not a critique of the event. I just think all the Yeehaw Cowboy stuff is a little too over the top.
Like the outfits?
Just between that and, like,
I liked the outfits.
The
I thought
opening
they were cool.
with, like, the commissioner opening and Pekka opening the door for Dustin Lynch and his giant cowboy hat. And I like Dustin Lynch a lot. But, like, that and, like, the constant, like, it just was too, like, it's just too much for me. Like, it's like every time someone talks about Nashville, it's like, Dano in Nashville. It's like,
it was very
weird. That's not what we are.
It was very stereotypical Nashville. At every commercial break, it was a country singer.
Except when they brought out the My Car Is in the Front Yard guys, and the place was freaking rocking for those guys.
Yeah, that
I was like,
fun.
why were those guys not the second intermission? Because those guys, now Pals was rocking. You know what I realized?
What?
Between the Super Bowl halftime show and the My Car Is in the Front Yard guys, between that, I have realized that the key to having a good performance is you got to think what the median age is. I'm going to guess 40 years old is probably the
fair.
median age. And you got to put out musical acts that the 40-year-olds like. Because you got, people between 20 and 40 that are probably, like, everybody knows that song. And even, like, the 50-year-olds know that song. And even, like, the boomers that, were there remember taking their kids to school and having to listen to that song.
And the young people love those songs.
Oh, they love them. There's something about the late 1990s, early 2000s that just America freaking loves.
Something about a song that sounds like it would belong on, like, an American Pie soundtrack gets the people going.
Yes.
Gets the people, like a good angsty early 2000s punk rock.
So I don't want this to sound like a criticism of the Predators, because it is not. And not a criticism of the Titans or of the city or of the NHL, because it's not. I just... look, it's hockey. It's meant to be played in an arena. And I was glad I went. And if they were to say, hey, we're getting the Winter Classic, if that thing ain't played at Vanderbilt's baseball stadium where every seat is right there, that's too much for me. But y'all have fun and have a great time. And I had a good time. And I don't want people to think I didn't have a good time. I don't want people to think I was ungrateful for going. I had decent seats because as a season ticket holder, though, it's season ticket holders buy first. And I had a good time. But, outdoor hockey, I think, is one of those things where it's, like, kind of cooler when you think about it than it is when you go to it. Especially when you're an old pee-pop like me.
Yeah, see, I had a great time. And if that's the way that the Predators played every single game, I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much. It was something about this is something that happens so infrequently, and this is such an interesting in-game experience, and I'm so happy that I got to experience it. It was really tough to see. I was sitting on, like, the south side near that end zone, so I could see all the action up close and personal at that net. So that was cool. Anything that happened on the other side was just, I looked up at the screen for that. So that was a little bit difficult. But those are all natural things that you just can't help. But I had a great time, and I thought the Predators did a great job of organizing it.
All right, everybody get your thoughts in on that. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, plus thoughts from the game. Because we haven't even talked about the game. We'll get our thoughts in on that as well. Caroline, what's to tell you about Caesar Sportsbook?
It is time for the Caesars Sportsbook Report. I know that was very much anticipated for today. Now, if you're a new user for the Caesars Sportsbook app, they will throw you a feast. And by feast, we mean a $250 Uber Eats gift card. So download the app with code RADIOEAT. One word, code RADIOEAT. And when you wager $50 or more totals, you'll get a $250 Uber Eats gift card. And who doesn't love to have some good food delivered? Now, if you want to put some money on something now, here's a future that you could get into. It's almost March, so that means March Madness. And the favorite to win the tournament right now is Gonzaga at plus 450, receiving the highest percentage of tickets at 9% and dollars. 16% of the dollars that have been put on the tournament have put on Gonzaga to win it all on Futures Bet on Caesars. So if you feel good about Gonzaga, then go ahead and put some money on it and do it with the Caesars Sportsbook app, and you'll get a $250 Uber Eats gift card while you're at it. Must be 21, offer valid in Tennessee only, new customers with eligible promo code only, real money wagers only that have minimum odds of minus 200, $250 gift card redemption code, and steps to your team gift card will be sent via email within 72 hours. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Void where prohibited. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesars Sportsbook. Download it, people.
Hey, this is Matt Duchesne, and this is Smashville.
Running down the left side with Duchesne. Duchesne scores! Matt Duchesne with the overtime winner.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey guys, it's the new year. Are you still struggling with erectile dysfunction? I've yet to meet anyone that enjoys timing those intimate moments around a pill. Well, now you don't have to. The advanced wave technology at Hillside Medical has been shown by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic to restore and even regrow blood vessels. It can improve circulation and eliminate erectile dysfunction. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED, call us in the next 2 minutes and you'll receive a consultation, assessment, and blood flow ultrasound free. Plus, a special gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. You're going to love that. Trust me. This is a $600 value, free to callers now. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, get rid of your ED and get that spark back. Call Hillside Medical now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
Smokeville Smoke Shop has been serving Hendersonville and Metro Nashville since 2015 and is committed to providing high-quality, hands-on, and personable customer service. Stop into Smokeville Smoke Shops in Hendersonville, Gallatin, Hermitage, and Goodlettsville to try any of their wide selection of locally sourced products and selection of top nationwide brands, including vapes, hookah, hand-blown glass, detox systems, e-juices, kratom products, leaf wraps, and much more. Visit Smokeville Smoke Shops today.
This Saturday, Tint World at 500 South Main Street in Goodlettsville is having their customer appreciation party. Check out their vinyl wraps, paint protection film, alarms, stereos, remote starter, ceramic coating, and more. Customize your ride at Tint World.
Hockey fans, tune in to Robbie and Rexroad every Wednesday morning at 9:30 for expert commentary on the Predators and the NHL with the Preds beat writer from The Athletic, Adam Vingan. Brought to you by the Bank of England Mortgage.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is John Hines, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Time ticking down, 15.
16 to go. The pass fluffed, and now it comes down low behind the net. Hedman off the board, stopped by Yossi, right point. 7 seconds left. Puck put down in front. Fed out there by Johansson. 1 second left, and time runs out on Nashville.
I thought they might have had a chance to tie the game at the end on Saturday. What do we think of their performance? I'm going to start. And I'm going to say this. I felt like Saturday's game was an indication of everything that I like about the Predators and everything I don't like about the Predators all wrapped up into one. So I thought Saros played a great game. Mm-hmm. Maybe not great, but he was good. I thought Saros had a good game. Not great for him, but good. I thought Saros was good. Forsberg scored a goal. He's going to have to score. Tanner Jeannot on his I'm going to shove it up Jared Stillman's rear end tour had another
continues.
goal on the power play.
Yep.
But two things. One, Tampa's better, okay? They're the two-time defending Cup champions. They got big freaking boy forwards. And guess who scored for them?
They're big boy forwards.
Braden Point, Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov. All three guys, big boy forwards. They're better than anybody you have. And that includes Forsberg, to the crew that calls in, texts in all the time. Got to pay him the money because Forsberg's not a big boy. We already know that. Those dudes, all of them are big boys. And I truly feel like, and the second thing that I hated, so the first thing was the obvious sign that they don't have a big boy forward. The second thing I hated was I felt like the Predators took a nap. I felt like they got out there and they were energized and the crowd had them energized and the game had them energized and they got a lead. And then at the 6-minute mark of the first period all the way to the, win in the third period, but they just took a snooze. They just put the feet up on the desk, closed their eyes, and took a little power nap. And it's like, guys, wake the freak up. This is the Stadium Series. This is the Tampa Bay Lightning. I was telling my dad about this, about Tampa Bay. And I said, think about this like when the Titans play. And we can use this as equitable because they play the Titan Stadium. When you play Buffalo, or you play Kansas City, or you play one of those kind of teams, hey, if you give Kansas City an extra set of downs, if you rough the passer on third down, if you hold on a wide receiver away from the play, if you have a holding penalty that kills a drive and knocks you out of field goal range, you're going to lose. You do those to those teams, you're going to lose. You can get away with it with the Texans. You ain't getting away with it against the Buffalo Bills. And that's what I felt like the Predators did with their penalties in the second period. Now, the Jeannot one was a total accident. Guy kind of loses his balance a little bit. Stick goes up, hits guy in the face. What are you going to do about it? But you can't put that team on the power play. Especially in every playoff series that this team will play. If it's Vegas, if it's St. Louis, well, maybe not St. Louis. If it's Colorado, if it's, one of these Eastern Conference teams like Tampa, they all have better scorers than you. Every team that you will play in the playoffs, at least to start, they will have better scorers, better forwards than you. So you can't put them on the power play. And honestly, the Predators defensively are just not good enough to kill those penalties off. In large part, the coach just has no interest in using his best defensive player against, in defensive situations, which drives me up a wall. So we get Matt Benning and Ben Harper out there.
Ben Harper.
He sucks.
God.
But I just kind of feel like this idea of taking a snooze, dude, it's the Stadium Series. What are you taking a snooze for in the middle of the second period? What are you taking these penalties for? So, honestly, yeah, that's kind of a microcosm of why I look at this team and I'm like, look, there is nobody whose bottom line, other than the teams itself, there's nobody whose bottom line is affected in a more positive manner by this team going deep into the playoffs than me. It'll get more people listening to the radio show. It'll be more fun for me as a fan. And yet I just look at this team and I'm like, they're just not there. And I felt like Saturday kind of proved it a little bit. But then again, it was a 3-2 game against the best team in the league, the two-time defending Cup champions. So, you kind of weigh it on one end or the other. But this is what bothers me about the team. They just don't have enough scores, and the other guys did, and they took their little snooze in the middle of the game. I don't know about you. Did you feel like the second period, because of the way the Predators were playing, was just boring?
That was going to be my number one takeaway, was the second period slump. And that's something that I feel like we've seen from the Predators for a while now, is just wild inconsistencies. It's like you don't know what team you're going to see out on the ice in the first period. It could be completely different than the team that you see in the third period, the second period. It's the wild inconsistencies, and it's so boring to watch. That second period, I felt like I needed to take a snooze because it just felt like a very boring game. And another one of my takeaways as well, and you mentioned it, was, the guys who scored for Tampa Bay on Saturday were their guys that they count on to score.
Yeah, the ones that they pay a lot of money to.
And while the Predators have depth scoring, Tanner Jeannot scoring and being on a heater is great and all, but I think Saturday just showed. You want depth scoring or do you want guys that you can rely on that can score your big guys, your elite forwards? I think I want the latter. I want the elite forwards. But that second period was just an absolute slump. And I felt like the Predators absolutely could have won that game.
Oh, yeah.
They took a nap in the second period instead.
Just kicked the feet up on the desk, out to lunch at the Stadium Series. I got to say this, too. Can I tell you something that bothers me about the coach? Is like, I felt like after the game was over, he gave an answer, and I don't have the cut pulled up, but it was something along the lines of like, our effort was there tonight. I'm kind of tired about talking about the team playing hard. Congratulations.
Well, they should play hard. That's your job, is to play hard.
I'm used to it by now. I'm glad that you've got them to play hard. But I don't want them to lose and for you to be like, well, hey, they played hard. Like, this is not Little League. And we are not giving them orange slices and Capri Sun after the game. Like, it's just not how we're doing this. So the idea of, like, every time that they lose, and it's this rendition of our mentality is fantastic and our locker room is great and we play hard. I get it.
What would you prefer him say?
I would prefer them to win.
Well, yes, obviously.
I would just talk about the game. Why'd you lose? What do you need to have better? What needs to be better? But he's not the example of this. Like, he's not the person that it's not John Hines' fault that America, media, and everything else is like this. But it's just kind of boring what they all say after the games anyway, especially when they lose, because nobody's like, yeah, we just kind of suck right now. Like, when somebody says that, it's, yes, finally somebody told the truth. He's never going to do that.
No.
So I can't blame him for that. By the way, I got a bone to pick with hockey media. Just a freaking bone. How about, and this goes to show you how sheltered we really are in America.
Uh-huh.
And I'll get to it on the other side because I promised I'd hit the break time in this one. So I promise I will. And your phones, 615-737-1025. Plus, I have been following the GoFundMe page for Eddie O'Reilly. We got some shout-outs to do at the end of the hour. We're going to be shouting people out every hour today. Again, my Twitter's pinned at the top. Titans fan who was forced out of the Ukraine, who yesterday took a bus to Romania and is now trying to relocate to Germany. And we're halfway there. $5,000 when we started. They were at $4,000. Now they're at $5,000. So, again, anything you can give, please give to that page. So we got to do some shout-outs as well. 615-737-1025. Later today, we're giving away Garth Brooks tickets. And since they're Garth Brooks tickets, I'm going to make them harder to win than normal because, it's Garth Brooks. 615-737-1025. Join us at this Wednesday night for the Preds Bud Light Watch Party at Headquarters Beercade. Drink specials, enter to win Preds tickets, and watch the Predators take on the Seattle Kraken. It's the Preds Bud Light Watch Party at Headquarters Beercade, located at 114 2nd Avenue South downtown. Puck drop 9 o'clock Wednesday night.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Sunshine continues this afternoon. High temperature 59 degrees. Tuesday up to 65 and then 70s for the second half of the week.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Regions helps you keep money in perspective with financial tools and guidance. Learn more at regions.com/live in the moment. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Cheers to you, girl. I know you're excited about the new job.
Oh, thanks so much.
Hey, is that my engagement ring you're wearing?
Don't be silly. Oh, wow. They are identical. How did that happen?
Don't tell me. He went to jail.
Yeah, yours too, I guess.
Wow.
Don't make her settle for one of those cookie cutter rings from the big corporate chain jewelry stores. At Genesis Diamonds, you can get her a stunning one-of-a-kind designer ring, one that's as unique as she is. Genesis has over 4,000 handcrafted rings from world-class designers like Tacori, Verragio, Henry Dossi, and others. These are designers that you'll never see in one of those mega corporate stores, but we have them starting at under $1,000. So ladies, don't settle for the ordinary, for a ring that will be yours and yours alone. Make sure he goes to
Genesis Diamonds.
Continuously voted best jewelry store and best place to buy an engagement ring. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
For the love of the climb, for the love of the fall, for the love of knowing your kids' laughter is the sweetest music there is. For the love of Tennessee, travel safe. Brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
When Smashville wants to rock. We are Nashville's rock station. 102.9 The Buzz. Meshing journalism.
They are 2 scores behind you. The math says that increases your chances of winning.
With sports fandom.
I stayed up till 1:30 in the morning, just emotionally numb from Titans and Packers.
And sarcasm.
You guys are the worst.
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode are Robbie and Rexrode. No duh. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10. Brought to you by Little Guys Movers on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
You're listening to Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
Stillman and Company right here, ESPN 102.5 The Game. So I got to give some shout-outs. First round of shout-outs today. We will be doing shout-outs at least once an hour today. And no, this is not, the way that it used to be back when I was growing up and they would do like shout-outs where people would call in and be like, Antioch. And it'd be like, all right, one shout-out for Antioch, back in the day. But Eddie O'Reilly is an American Titans fan who was trapped in Ukraine. I believe his wife is from Ukraine. His wife, daughter, dog. They decided after having to go into their shelters and garages and underneath train stations with all the bombings and everything else, he decided that they were going to get out yesterday. They got out just in the nick of time via bus to Romania, where they are going to relocate to Germany. And he's a big Titans fan. And on my Twitter, at Jared Stillman, you can go and you can donate whatever amount you want to bring Eddie home. They got a $10,000 goal. We have now cracked the $5,000 mark. When we started the show, it was about $4,000. We've cracked the $5,000 mark. So if we can get a round of applause around here for all the people out there that are helping out, okay? So I said shout-outs. So if you donate during the show today, you're going to get a shout-out. Now, I don't know how long it takes for this to update when people donated, so I'm just going to go from everybody who's donated from 2 o'clock on. So shout-out to Anonymous, who donated $50.
Thank you, Anonymous.
Wes Marsh donated. Brian McLean donated. John Freelier, and if I got that wrong, John, I'm so sorry. He donated. Jordana Chartok donated. Devin Watts donated. Van Patten, shout-out to him. He donated. Michael Bohan, he donated. Joel Serbin donated. Shout out to Joel.
Shout out.
John Blaine donated, and Andreas Jekyll donated. And if I got any of those names wrong, I apologize wholeheartedly. But again, I saw the guy's Twitter on Saturday showing, what it looked like outside of his home and him discussing what it is to live in the Ukraine right now and to get out following the journey. I'm so happy for him that he got out of Ukraine, which I hate because I have a whole new level of respect for the people of the Ukraine with everything that's going on. But it's hard to pick up your life and leave somewhere. I've never been a refugee, and I told myself when I was following this yesterday, I was like, we got a radio show, so let's see how many people we can get to donate. If we can get to that $10,000 mark, it'd be great. But again, if you just got $1 to donate, just $1 is fine. But really, really proud of our audience so far that's gotten behind this. Again, the GoFundMe you can find on my Twitter, at Jared Stillman. It is pinned at the top, and we will have more shout-outs as we go along. I got to pick a bone with the hockey media, though, while we're on the Ukraine thing.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Wyshynski, who, by the way, wrote a piece about Nashville that I'm going to get to later today, which drove me up a wall as well. But there was this big debate, and I talked about this when I did Sirius because it was kind of more of a national topic on Friday, which was Alexander Ovechkin, who is apparently very pro-Putin in the past. Again, dude's from Russia. That's his president. People over there brainwashed to think this guy's not a terrible person.
Mm-hmm.
Alexander Ovechkin has been very pro-Putin in the past, and there was this big debate on Thursday as to whether or not Alexander Ovechkin should have to answer questions about his feelings towards the Russian invasion of the Ukraine. And Greg Wyshynski was one of the ones who tweeted out, this whole thing about, oh, yeah, he definitely should. He has campaigned for Putin in the past. He should, and we should ask. And I just would say this. I don't know what made you want to get into sportscasting, but when you got into sportscasting, was it because you wanted to put a guy on the hot seat with a question while his wife and children and parents could be at harm based upon what he said?
Absolutely not. If I wanted to be a political reporter, I would have been.
And it's not only that. I understand asking somebody a hard question, but, I mean, there are stakes here. And if he wanted to be a politician, he'd have gone into politics. And so that was just what was up my craw as we were talking about the hockey media that got me going. And then Wyshynski's piece about, the piece in ESPN.com, which we'll get into later, basically made it sound like there weren't any Predators fans at the game on Saturday, which I thought was complete and total bullcrap. Now, I like Wyshynski, and he's always been kind with his time to us. And these two things back to back, I just have a bone to pick that I'm like, dude, can we let Alexander Ovechkin not have to get up there and either support a brutal dictator or risk the lives of his family? Can we let him just play hockey? Like, why is this so difficult? And then the whole thing about, the Tampa Bay Lightning fans were through and through, and they cheered the Lightning on to victory, and that's why the Lightning won, not the fact they got better players than the Predators. Forget about that. And I just made the ESPN article, which was on the front page of ESPN yesterday, made it sound like the Predators didn't have any fans, and that bothered me. So there's that. Phones. 615-737-1025 because our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. Nate's been holding. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Nate.
Good afternoon, y'all. So my thing with the Stadium Series is that it's more for I want to say it's more for the fan-to-fan experience. It's not necessarily all about the hockey game. It's everything leading up to it, and then interacting with fans inside the stadium. So, that's how I look at these kind of events. So I was just trying to help you feel better, Jared.
Okay, I appreciate your call. I barely listened to what he said, and I'm not sure I totally understood it.
I don't know. I don't get it.
I don't either. If I'm going to the game and I'm paying the money to go to the game, I want to have fun.
Yeah, and I do understand that a big part of it is totally tailored around just the fanfare and the pomp and circumstance, like the whole parade before, the jackets, the, Pekka throwing out the catfish, which I thought was awesome, admittedly. A lot of it is surrounding the fanfare, and I thought there were certain elements of it. I was like, they probably focused a lot more on the fan experience rather than actual gameplay. But that kind of thing doesn't happen very often, so I understand it.
I know, but if I'm going to the game, I want to be able to see the game.
Oh, yeah, I want to be able to see the game.
And that's the one thing about all these sports. Now, football's probably a little different, and when you're in the arena, I'd say there's a difference. But in the 300 level tickets, people are going to have to understand when it comes to the NFL, you want to charge a bunch of money for these tickets, but if I can watch it better at home, eventually people are going to start watching it better at home. And I think
But it's not like this game is played every week.
No. But I'm talking about like in general.
They do want it to look good for TV.
No, it definitely is supposed to look good for TV. But I had, I thought I'd be able to see the whole thing, and I really didn't feel like I was able to see the whole thing. What do we have in the text line?
Xavier texts in and says 3 things. 1, they did not have the same intensity or physicality from Thursday's game. 2, sat pretty low in the lower bowl, and I felt like I was looking at the Jumbotron more than the actual ice.
I did a lot of looking at the Jumbotron.
I did a lot of that as well. 3, agree with Jared on the fact that I wish there was more diversity in the music, not just country. I know I'm nitpicking, but they kept playing replays during the live play that really kept pissing me off.
So I didn't have to look at the Jumbotron that much. Sometimes I like to see the replay after the play. Mm-hmm. I do understand what he's talking about, though. The thing we have to realize about Nashville is they're going to make everything country. It's just, to me, if we're going to make everything country, then well, we don't have to make everything country. But I already know they're going to make everything country because it's Nashville. That's just how it is. Just like
there's more music here than just country music.
New Orleans, they're going to make it jazz. If it's Los Angeles, they're going to make it Dr. Dre.
Uh-huh.
If it's Detroit, they're going to make it Motown. If it's I'm trying to think like New York, it's going to be Jay-Z.
Uh-huh.
Like that's just what you're going to have. What else we got?
One texter checks in and says I sat in section.
Sinatra.
Yes. Sat in section 341, row KK, and I was surprised I could see and follow the puck with no problem.
Okay, so we talked about this off air, about would it have been better to watch from the 300 level than the 100 level. It kind of feels like the answer is yes.
Yeah. Well, because I was thinking if
the
300 level, you may not be able to see the puck.
I would have liked, that's a fair point. I would have liked to see the game from all 3 levels. Like, what would it have been like at the 200 level and the club level? what would it have been like in the 300 level? I would have liked to see what that looked like. I have to say, I think the worst seat in the house would have had to be the end zones.
Probably so.
Because
there was so much space between the ice and the end zone. Yeah, that was pretty hard. And there were speakers pointing directly at those seats right behind the end zone. I feel like that would have been like a weird kind of sound in-game experience.
I wondered this at the game. Were we hearing the Nissan Stadium sound system, or were we just hearing those speakers on the field? Because at the beginning, the first period, when they were doing the introductions and stuff, I could not hear anything. I couldn't hear anything. You know, I could barely hear. Like, I could not tell for, like, the first, the entire Tampa Bay lineup and, like, half of the Predators lineup. I couldn't tell if that was Paul McCann or not at first. I didn't know if that was him. Or if that was some generic NHL guy, they'd be, welcome to the Stadium Series. And I couldn't hear. And I wondered if we were listening to those speakers at the bottom and not the speakers in the stadium. But again, I'm not sure anybody cares about that. What else we got?
Devin from Dover texts in and says, country music is fine, just get actually good artists.
I'm not going to complain about that. It's hard. First of all, these people have not toured for essentially a year until last year. And now they're back on the roads, and they're doing shows, and they're making money. And I doubt that the NHL can get somebody off the road to say, hey, I know you got this big concert planned with 50,000 people that are coming and buying your tickets, but would you like to play 2 songs at intermission? So I'm not going to hold that against them. Like a buddy of mine played on Friday night, but he couldn't play Saturday because he was on the road. And I understand that. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to hold that, against the thing. But I would say that if we got my cars in the front yard guys, can we get them to the second period intermission as opposed to the last time out where they got to cut the song short because they're coming back from TV? That's all I'm asking for. My own worst enemy is the title of the song. I mean, that song takes me right back to the 4th grade. And when they started playing that song, I was like, oh, my God, this is the song. This is the song I like.
It got the people going. He had a cool jacket on, too.
Oh, my goodness. Everybody had a cool jacket on except for me. I was wearing just a regular jacket. Boy, it was cold.
Did you not check the forecast?
Well, I mean, I was wearing a jacket.
Maybe a bigger one.
No, I had like a jacket on.
Uh-huh.
Then I actually wore the Stadium Series jersey because I like it.
I like it.
Then I had to wear a bigger jacket on top of it so I can even show my Stadium Series jersey because I was wearing a bigger jacket on top of it. But it was cold.
Bummer. It was cold.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Again, we will reset the raising money for Eddie O'Reilly because, again, we've got more people that are doing that. And then every hour we'll give some shout-outs. So we'll do that. Plus, the Titans, the Combine's this week. And I have a lot of thoughts about the Combine I want to get to, but especially what it means for the Titans. Because there's an either-or situation here that this is what it is, and that's next. Stillman & Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The MTSU Blue Raiders live here.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee! 3-ball, yes, sir!
And when you're in the borough, tune us in on 97.5.
In the end zone, caught, touchdown!
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and the second half of the NBA season is here, and you can turn every Thursday into payday with NBA on TNT on FanDuel Sportsbook. Doesn't matter if you win or lose, FanDuel is giving all customers $10 back every Thursday in site credit. Just bet a $10 or more same-game parlay on any NBA on TNT game. Same-game parlays let you combine the money line, point spread, player props, and more all into one wager. You got the Miami Heat taking on the Brooklyn Nets coming up on Thursday. Give me the Heat on the money line. Give me Tyler Hero over on points, but you take it any way you want to take it. It's the perfect way to turn a small bet into a big-time score. And win or lose, you're guaranteed to get $10 added to your account. Trust me on this. It's something you're not going to want to miss. So get $10 back every Thursday in site credit, win or lose with TNT Thursdays. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up with promo code ROB to make every moment more this NBA season. Once again, that promo code is ROB. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. A max bonus of $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Think back to a time when you've had to contend with a difficult challenge in your life, but that, in the end, came out okay. I'm willing to bet that in almost all those cases, you had someone alongside you that you trusted, whether the challenge related to a career change, a health crisis, or even the death of a loved one. But if the challenge is divorce, and you're a guy, there's a good chance that your trusted friend for all life's challenges to date has been your spouse, whom the legal system now terms the opposing party. This is why guys notoriously are prone to feeling isolated and alone during the divorce process. The good news is you don't have to go through this alone. Let Cordell and Cordell be the partner that you can count on through the challenges of divorce. Call us at 866-DADS-LAW or visit CordellCordell.com. You are not alone.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell and Cordell's Nashville area attorneys. 866-DADS-LAW, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067. CordellCordell.com.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe of Darren, Donick, and Chase. I started my radio career as an intern right here at ESPN 102.5 The Game. Now we're looking for our next great batch of interns. You think that's you? Send your resume to together@cromwellmedia.com to apply today.
Hey everybody, Robbie Stanley here to tell you about my friends at Jasper's as the neighborhood bar and restaurant to catch the next Preds game. Jasper's is located on West End Avenue and offers a fun atmosphere with a game room, TVs, and a large bar and lounge area. Plus they offer free parking. That's right, free parking on West End, and offer specials for every Preds game day, including $10 smash burgers and $3 bottle domestics. So come on down to Jasper's next game day for happy hour every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m. and 2-for-1 beers all day on Sundays. Just tell them that Robbie Stanley sent you.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the offices of Amanda Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. We keep getting that number up and up and up to bring Eddie home. Eddie O'Reilly, a Titans fan who was stuck in the Ukraine, took a bus yesterday, got to Romania, is relocating to Germany for the time being. And again, I don't know if you've seen this. It's almost impossible right now in Ukraine, Russia, that area to get money out of an ATM. Mm-hmm. It's all, I mean,
the banks have all been shut down in Russia.
Oh, man.
I did see on Twitter that there were restaurants and businesses asking people to not use credit cards because they didn't know when the banks would shut down.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. Then again, I'm not going to a restaurant right now. If I was, well, I guess Russia's they're not.
Yeah, they're not under attack.
But still, I mean, things are crazy. But again,
pretty scary.
Pinned to my Twitter at Jared Stillman. Halfway there. I'm in for their goal was $10,000. I'm in for $1,000. So jump on in and try to support Eddie. And like I said, before his Twitter was videos of him hiding with his family, they were videos of him playing Madden with the Titans. He is a diehard Titans fan, from what I could gather. And again, this show is for the fans, and so we're out there to support it. So speaking of the fans, the Combine is this week. And I'm not sure if I've ever had like a strong feeling as far as the Combine's concerned. I mean, we used to go to it, but it was in large part because we had Floyd. And so when every coach and general manager and everybody would be there, we knew that by going to the Combine, we'd get grade A interviews. And we did. We'd always have Pete Carroll, and we'd have Bill O'Brien, and we'd have Andy Reid, and we'd have Matt Patricia when he was coach of the Lions. And, we had a bunch of, coaches and things that normally a local radio station doesn't get. And we had those things because of our ESPN connections and mainly because of Floyd. And I say this to say that in all the years that he and I went to the Combine, I and Chase went to the Combine, I never watched a single drill except for the bench press, which was right next to where Radio Row was. Mm-hmm. And I do remember Damian Harris, now the running back of the Patriots, doing the bench press one year, and Floyd getting up and walking over. There was like a spectator section, but then there was kind of like, some barricades where the media would walk through, which was right by where they were doing the bench press. And Damian Harris was trying to do the bench press, and Floyd just leans over and goes, "Lock your arms out, dumbass!" and then just kept walking. And it was great. And so then he was like, when they don't lock out, what they do is they're cheating reps. And I'm like, okay. He's like, so here's what happens. So by them cheating those reps, they get 18 bench presses when they really did about 3 real ones. And they're going to dock 2, so they'll end up with 16 bench presses when in reality they did 3 real ones. So it drives me nuts when these fat boys don't lock out.
You can take the guy out of football, but you will never take the football out of the guy.
No. And, well, that's how he always used to be. When we would go run into these coaches at the combine, we'd be sitting there talking, and he'd be waiting for the opportunity. Like, hey, come on the radio show. But he'd be like, what'd you think of the run back? Like they'll be talking about these kind of things.
Right.
So the combines this week, again, I'm not overly jazzed up for the combine. Maybe it's because the Titans don't have a great pick. Maybe it's because this draft doesn't have any interesting players in this.
This draft doesn't entice me.
There's not one single interesting player in this draft.
I don't know.
No, not one. Do not tell me that kid from Michigan is interesting.
I wasn't going to say him, but to say, I mean, like, do you mean interesting as in quarterback? Because that's what I feel like you're implying.
Interesting, period.
Why are there no players that you think are remotely interesting?
Who's the Johnny Manziel this year?
Well, there is no Johnny Manziel this year. There's no fun quarterback.
Okay, who, at least every now and then there's, some controversial guys that there's something that's, what do you take Calvin Johnson number 1 overall? I don't like that. We don't have that. We don't have it. I mean, think about
it. It's an offensive line draft.
I just realized I can't remember who won the Heisman. Oh, yeah, Bryce Young did from Alabama, so he can't come out.
Right.
So, there's no good play. It's college football. There's no good players this year other than the kid from Michigan.
Just because they're not quarterbacks does not make them not good players.
We'll see.
Jameson Williams, Chris Olave, are they bad players?
Let me wait 2 years and let me tell you about Jameson Williams. But I'm glad you brought him up because, in my opinion, the Titans have 3 choices this year in the draft. Now, I was reading Peter King, Monday Morning Quarterback, and he was talking to Daniel Jeremiah of the NFL Network, and I'm not going to pretend to have evaluated these draft picks in class or whatever, but Peter King basically said that he talked to Daniel Jeremiah about how awful the quarterback class is this year, and apparently it's bad. Now, we don't know that. They said it was bad in 1984, and Boomer Esiason and Jeff Hostetler went to Super Bowls, but it does feel like this is a bad quarterback class. But when you're picking 26th and it's a bad quarterback class, that means there's a chance that you could draft a quarterback. Mm-hmm. So they've got really 3 options. One of the options, which is their go-to, which is not one of the 3, is take an injured player and a hope that the injured player, that you're getting the bargain basement deal that over the 4 or 5 year period of the injured player's career, that even though it takes Jameson Williams a while to be ready to play, that long-term it'll work, and that's how you get Jeffrey Simmons. I'm sorry. I am not interested in the project for this year. The Tennessee Titans need to be competing to win. And it's unfortunate to put this kind of pressure on them, but they did this to themselves. They're going to have to eventually make up for the draft picks that they've whiffed on in the past. They're going to have to make up for the fact that Rashaan Evans isn't getting a second contract. They're going to have to make up for the fact that they missed on Isaiah Wilson and make up for the fact that Darrington Evans is something that you don't need in the 3rd round. It's something you can go get off the street like Jeremy McNichols or Dontrell Hilliard or Deontay Foreman. They're going to have to make up for the missed picks. Dylan Radins, either he can play right now, and if he can't play right now, because you're not going to have Roger Saffold, your left guard, you're not going to have Ben Jones, your center, and David Quessenberry, your right tackle's not even really a starter, and he's a free agent too. So you got 3 offensive linemen to replace. Well, if Radins can't play this year, then you swung and missed on that one, and you got to get another one. So no projects. When you pick in the 1st round this year, they got to play. And I say that knowing that Keith Bullock, for example, did not play right away. Steve McNair did not play right away. Jeffrey Simmons did not play right away. I get it. But they got to start drafting some A.J. Browns, where A.J. got here and the first game he was a baller. And so no projects this year. So the first option, in my opinion, is to take someone that you know at 26 can get right in the lineup and play. Because, again, I don't think they can afford to sit there and go the project route. TD has talked about trading down a lot. Peter King's article referenced that about you want more mid-round picks. So you trade down out of 26 to get more picks for more mid-round guys that can play. But I keep thinking about Jonnu Smith because everybody wants Jonnu Smith back. Well, Jonnu Smith was no good for the first 2 years he was on the team. It wasn't until the end of the third year. I believe that's right. The end of the third year, maybe the end of the second year. I don't know. I'm getting my years mixed up. It was the end. I think it was the end of the second year that Jonnu became kind of good. I don't have time to wait for that anymore. They got to be good now. So that's an option. The second option is you take the heir apparent to Tannehill. That you look at one of these quarterbacks that nobody says, I'm taking with the 9th overall pick, I'm taking with the 5th overall pick, I'm taking, and you say, hey, this guy can be a starter and quarterback in the NFL and can be a star, and nobody realizes it. And then you take the heir apparent to Tannehill, a la Buffalo making the playoffs, trading up, drafting Josh Allen. Kansas City making the playoffs, trading up, drafting Patrick Mahomes. Like, you do that kind of thing. The third option is to trade it for a guy you know is good that can come in right now. Now, eventually, that will bite you in the butt because you've already dealt your second-round pick. You missed on the first-round pick 2 years ago. There's a probably more likely than not chance you missed on last year's first-round pick. There's probably a more likely than not chance you missed on last year's second-round pick. So if you trade for a player today, that may help the Tennessee Titans compete for the Super Bowl. But it's really going to bite you in the butt in a couple years. When Tannehill's gone and you don't have a quarterback anymore, and then you got to go find a quarterback, call Denver, see how hard that is for them. Derrick Henry's not here anymore. Again, finding a running back's not as hard as finding a quarterback, but it's hard to find a Derrick Henry. A.J. Brown's going to be paid, and then who knows about A.J. Brown's health. So there's a lot of, what ifs that start to come into play. You will have to rebuild the entire offensive line at that point, and it's not a good spot to be in as far as the draft is concerned. But though I think that's what the Titans have to decide for themselves at the Combine, which is who can we get that can come in today and play? And I hate saying it because the second you start drafting, and I'm not even saying drafting for need. I'm not saying, well, they need this, so draft it. It's more so, do you know that pass rusher can get on the field this year? Take him. Do you know that tight end can get on the field? That lineman? Do you know? Or is it like Radens where, hey, we're going to leave right tackle open for you 2 days into practice? We're going to try him at every position because you can't do that this year. So that's my thought on the Combine. Again, I'm not a huge Combine guy, though I am, and I have not told her this. I meant to text her this yesterday. I am putting Caroline Fenton fully in charge of being our Combine correspondent or our Combine researcher. So basically every day,
happy to do it.
I want to know who ran what in the 40. I want to know who bench pressed what.
All right.
I want to know who
with
said
locked
what.
out arms or not.
And I do, because I honestly, I'm not a huge Combine guy, so you got to tell me what they did. And so you are going to be, but again, the Combine, I think the Titans have three options.
Happy to do it.
And the thing that has worked for them, which they haven't meant to do, but it's worked for them, which is draft a guy other than Conklin, which is draft, and A.J. Brown, which is draft a guy and then wait for that guy to eventually become a good player. And then once the guy becomes a good player, you have to pay him, which, by the way, is starting to piss me off a little bit, right? Like, we wait for Corey Davis to do anything. Then he kind of does something, now you got to pay him. We wait for Harold Landry, now you got to pay him. Wait for Simmons, now you got to pay him. Wait for, like, oh, God. Can you get a guy like Micah Parsons that shows up day one, just wrecks havoc, and it's like, yes, this is why you draft Javon Curse. That's what they need. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get your thoughts in on that. 615-737-1025. And I just can't do the one thing that I know Caroline wants to talk about, which we will talk about next as far as the draft is concerned. Stillman and Company right here, ESPN 102.5 The Game. Every Wednesday, it's me, Jared Stillman, against Joe Rexroad for Jared versus Joe. Brought to you by Parman Tractor and Equipment. Visit ParmanTractor.com, your Middle Tennessee link belt and Takauchi dealer.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Hey, what's going on? It's Chase McCabe and BetMGM. They welcome you with a special offer on You guessed it, the NBA. Simply place a $10 moneyline wager on any game. If either team hits a three-pointer, you'll win $200 in free bets. All you have to do is use the bonus code 1025game200 when you make your first bet. Plus, you'll earn BetMGM reward points that can be redeemed for online bonuses or converted into comps for rooms, restaurants, and more at over 20 MGM resorts nationwide. BetMGM is proud to be an authorized gaming partner of the NBA. Download the app or go to BetMGM.com. Use that code 1025game200 to win $200 in free bets if either team hits a three-pointer. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Tennessee only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
Looking for a big diamond? Genesis Diamonds introduces our Elite Collection. All new for 2020. These are large, rare diamonds in the top 1% of the world. 3 carat, 4 carat, 5 carat, up to 10 carat precious diamonds for the most discriminating buyers who appreciate quality. Genesis owners travel worldwide, tapping a vast network of diamond cutters, carefully hand-selecting each of these remarkable diamonds. We invite you to view this premium collection of GIA-certified diamonds, rounds, cushion cuts, emerald cuts, even fancy colored diamonds in size and quality never before seen here. And to showcase these exquisite stones, only Genesis has the finest handcrafted rings from all the world-class designers. If 2020 is the year you're upgrading her original diamond, or you just want to go big for the first time, no need to travel to New York or Los Angeles or Antwerp. Genesis Diamonds' elite collection of large precious diamonds is here in Nashville. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Hey, it's Elijah Campbell from Darren, Donick, and Chase, and I got my radio start right here as an intern at ESPN 1025 The Game. It was an excellent experience, and we're now looking for new interns. If you think that's you, go ahead and send your resume over to together@cromwellmedia.com to apply.
This is Dan. Dan uses Navy Federal Credit Union to save and invest. Luckily for him, Navy Federal takes the legwork out of managing his money, which gives Dan time to work on other things, like his new auctioneering hobby. If you want to be like Dan, learn about our savings and investment options at NavyFederal.org/save and invest. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission.
Bidder number 63.
Savings products insured by NCUA. Investment options are available through Navy Federal Investment Services and are not insured by NCUA.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
Which QB has the most to prove, though, at this week's Combine?
Randy, I think it's Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati. The Bearcats, they had just battling to be QB 4 or 5 and pushing him into the second round, not the first round. That inconsistent accuracy against Alabama, he was at 53%, Notre Dame 59%, Indiana 56%, overall at 65%, but that was against lesser competition. So I think that Alabama game in particular, Randy, was the game that really hurt Ridder. He needs to rebound during the process over the next couple months and try to maybe become the fourth quarterback taken, maybe ahead of Sam Howell from North Carolina. We'll have to see if that plays out that way. Best case scenario, I think, right now would be second round.
There you go, Mel Kiper Jr., Desmond Ridder, who tried to suck up at the Senior Bowl and say that he modeled his game after Ryan Tannehill.
No, you don't. Who models their game after Ryan Tannehill?
That's like in the NBA. It's like, who do you model your game after? It's like, you know that guy in the Warriors, Kevon Looney? I model my game after him. Like, oh, really? You don't model your game after Steph or Clay?
Yeah, what?
No. Kevon
Sorry,
Looney.
Tom Brady. Sorry, Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, Josh Allen. Sorry, Patrick Mahomes.
Ryan
Tannehill.
I model my game after Julius Randle. You know, like that's what that is. And so, I mean, it's ridiculous. But keep an eye out on him. Again, I'm okay if the Titans take a quarterback in the first round, investing in the future, you know. And honestly, I want the guy to be able to compete with Tannehill. So if you draft a guy in the first round at 26 in what is considered a bad quarterback draft, but I'm not going to say all these guys suck because I don't know that. If you draft a guy with the 26th overall pick and he performs better in training camp than Ryan Tannehill, I'm sticking Ryan Tannehill on the bench. Now, there's one thing that I can't do. So Daniel Jeremiah ranked his top 50 prospects. And what I always do when the Titans have a late pick is I get to about 15. Because everybody who's before that is not going to be available to the Titans. So Drake London a wide receiver from USC who's going to rank 13th. They have no chance to get him. So I go to 15, where George Karlaftis is number 16, an edge rusher. Okay, now we can talk about these guys the Titans might take. And one guy that I think people are circling with the Titans because they know their penchant for loving injured players is Jameson Williams, the wide receiver out of Alabama. And you brought up Jameson Williams' name earlier today. And I will just say this. Jameson Williams tore his ACL in the national championship game. You cannot expect that he would be ready for the start of the season. You cannot expect that he would be back to normal, being able to trust that knee during the 2022 season. And you cannot trust that it won't take him time to adapt to playing wide receiver in the NFL. Wide receiver is hard. I remember one time Chris and Floyd were talking during a pregame show about the difference between a high school receiver and a college receiver is like night and day. And the difference between a college receiver and the NFL receiver is even bigger than the gap from high school to college. And Chris was like, oh, yes. So it's going to take Jameson Williams a while before he's ready to be the Jameson Williams that he was before his knee popped on that carpet. And also, you play a lot of games on that carpet, Indianapolis, Houston, everybody else who uses that kind of stuff. Maybe you if you build a dome, although he probably won't be on the team by then. But maybe so. It's more likely to pop again. I am not interested in an injury project this year, and I understand that if you pass on the injured guy, that somebody that you may play could pick the injured guy, and then you'd have to play Jameson Williams, or you'd have to play Jeffrey Simmons, or you'd have to play Miles Jack like you have all those years with Jacksonville when he was a really good player. But I do not think the Titans could take an injured player in the first round, especially with them not having a second-round pick and them needing the first-round pick and the third-round pick and the fourth-round pick and then the fourth-round compensation pick that they might get. Like, you're going to need those guys to play because you just don't have – you got too many old players. You got too many guys that you've missed on in the draft, too many guys that aren't worth keeping around to pay like Roger Saffold. So these guys that you draft have to come in here and play right away. And you never want to be in that position, but that's the position they're in. So I'm a no vote on injured players. And when we talk about it, we'll put Jameson Williams at the top. I am a no vote on that this year.
I just think that Jameson Williams is way too good of a player to pass up on.
Nope.
And if he falls in your lap at 26, and I understand that I have criticized John Robinson and the drafting and the signing of injured players over and over again, but that's a position of need for the Titans. He's a very good wide receiver, and I think that once he does recover from his ACL injury, then he is going to be able to contribute to the Titans right away.
No, how?
What do you mean how?
So you realize that recovering from an ACL injury, like once you're able to get on the field,
yes,
there's like a whole nother level of you having to teach your knee how to work again.
Okay.
So that's why normally it takes
players tear their ACLs all the time.
Right, but it takes like a full year before you're even back on the field. Well, he tore his ACL in January.
It's
so
not great.
if you draft him, he's not. Conklin tore his ACL in the playoffs, and he was not back to being Jack Conklin until the end of that season, and he got hurt again. And then he was not back to being Jack Conklin until the playoffs. So Conklin was an All-Pro in 2016, and he was not to Jack Conklin level again until the end of 2019. I don't have
it's
time.
It's a long recovery process.
You do not have time. You do not have time to waste on this. You do not. If you are looking at this football team, you do not have time. Like, there's no way you can take this guy in the first round and say, well, he's not going to play this year. And even if he does play this year, he's not going to be effective because there's not enough time to turn around to get him ready to go. Simmons tore his ACL. Would have been a top 5 pick.
Mm-hmm.
Drops to, I think, 19 or whatever it was to the Titans. They take Simmons, which, by the way, Ian, you remember Floyd was like absolutely anti-Simmons that night before they took him.
Well, you know, he didn't like drafting injured players.
Right.
Oh, I remember sitting there, and I was like, what about the Simmons from Mississippi? No. They ended up taking Simmons. Simmons plays really well in his first game. And then after that, he goes away. So he missed like the first half of the season, first 6 games, comes back for Game 7, was awesome in Game 7, and then Simmons didn't do anything really the rest of the year. Then last year, Simmons was okay. He was like the kind of okay where you had to tell me that he was playing well. You couldn't just watch the game and see him playing well.
Right.
And then this year he was a man-child. I don't have 3 years right now. Like, that team didn't make the playoffs. You want to draft a guy for a long term? Fine. They had Jarrell Casey, so you didn't. And I'm not saying you got to take a need. I'm not saying you got to take a need that can play right now. I'm saying you got to take a player that can play right now. If you take a corner that can play right now, even though you expect to have starting corners on your team,
right?
I'm fine with it. Because you can never have enough corners. You can always use that extra corner. You can always use that extra, unless it's a running back. I'm fine with taking whatever position it is if the guy can play. But I can't wait. I cannot wait for Jameson Williams' knee to recover fully. So that's a year. Then he has to learn how to play wide receiver in the NFL, which could be, another couple of months, or because then you have the whole offseason, like the start of the next season. I cannot wait until the middle of 2023 for this guy to start producing for the Titans. This is not like it has been in the past. The middle of 2023, no, sir. Guys got to start playing now. So this is the rare instance, and you all know that I don't like old players. This is an instance where I would say, fine, if your option is take this guy right now or package this pick and send it to somebody else and get a known commodity back in return, I'd rather do that because of where I think the ball club is.
I'd be fine with trading the pick 100%.
But remember, Keith Bullock was a guy that did not start right away. Now, like, Keith was a good player from the beginning, and they just had Eddie Robinson there. But Keith Bullock did not play right away. You look at Keith Bullock when he got drafted, and he was certainly not as big, like as strong as he was later in his career. I mean, they really did a great job of developing him into the player that he is. But I understand that passing on guys that aren't ready to play right now means that you could lose somebody who could potentially be a great player. But I cannot sit there and say, okay, take this guy and hope that he's healthy this year. I can't do it. This is a team that needs players that can play. They got to find the guy at 26. And these people exist because A.J. Brown was 51st and came in right away and was a baller. You got to find the guy that can come in right away and be a playmaker. Not, once he adapts to this, you don't have time for that. You might be playing Green Bay week 1. You might be playing Buffalo, Kansas City. We saw last year the NFL has no problem setting the schedule up to screw the Titans. So you may be playing Kansas City, Buffalo, Green Bay, Cincinnati, and Dallas in the first 5 weeks of the season. Throw Indianapolis in there somewhere. You got to win now.
And I know this is a completely different conversation of what should the Titans do versus what we think that they will do. But I do wonder at what point is John Robinson going to look at at drafting and acquiring injured players and say, okay, no, we've had enough.
He doesn't have to do that because he's got Jeffrey Simmons.
To prove the other side of it?
Right. So he can say, I have Jeffrey Simmons.
Okay.
So you can tell me that, and this is...
But that's something that we've seen play out over time.
Simmons, in a lot of regards, could be like the black swan. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That it happened.
The exception to the rule.
Now you say, okay, well, now every injured player is going to be Simmons.
Like drafting a player late in the draft and saying that could be our Tom Brady.
Sure.
Like just because Tom Brady was taken with the 199th overall pick does not mean that every single quarterback in the 6th round is going to be Tom Brady.
I was told, and I think everybody knows that my sources in New England are pretty good. I was told that Brian Hoyer spent an entire year doing everything Tom Brady did. He ate what Tom Brady ate. He did the resistant bands workouts with Tom Brady. He watched the same amount of film as Tom Brady. He practiced just as hard as Tom Brady. He did everything that Tom Brady did, literally mimicked him for an entire year. And he's Brian Hoyer. Like, sometimes it just,
If you ain't got it, you ain't got it.
The thing about Brady is that Lloyd Carr really screwed him. Was by the Drew Henson back and forth stuff, and teams got... People missed on Brady. That's what it was. It wasn't that Brady wasn't good. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, by spite and Belichick's greatness, Brady became the great. People missed on him. He's got a good arm. He's lean. He's got a good build. You don't need a quarterback to look good with their shirt off. You need the guy to be able to stand in the pocket and throw the ball. He's fine. 615-737-1025. Add that to the list of things to get into. 615-737-1025. So, Major League Baseball. I know nobody cares as far as the Titans are concerned and Nashville fans are concerned. But there is a Nashville element to this Major League Baseball situation that I want to get to because I want everybody to think about this before you commit to it. We'll do that next. Stillman & Company. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey, I'm Matthias Ekholm, and this is Smashville.
Ekholm, his shot, he scores! Matthias Ekholm gets the Predators' third of the night.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 1025, The Game.
Shop today at Social Furniture during their President's Day sale. You'll find everything for your home on sale now, and they have same-day delivery. Use Social Furniture's financing plan and pay no interest for 1 full year. For a limited time, they have designer sofas, solid wood bedroom furniture, leather sofas, and sectionals in stock now. Social Furniture's President's Day sale going on now through President's Day. Visit Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Shop local. Shop social. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
What if I told you there was a breakthrough technology for treating erectile dysfunction that can eliminate ED? This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and I'm not going to tell you that. Because despite what some groups claim in their ads, the truth is, there is no such thing. What they're talking about is acoustic wave therapy, and it's been used to treat ED for many years. In fact, we've used it in our practice since 2018. And while wave therapy is useful for some ED cases, it's not a miracle cure. And you could spend a lot of money with those other groups finding that out. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we offer many ED treatments, including wave therapy. We've successfully treated thousands of men with protocols that have success rates as high as 90%, and will find the right treatment for you. You could even have great sex the day after your appointment. So don't be fooled. Call us today and get the right treatment for you. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra. Results vary.
Care has the power to bring kindness where it's needed. It brings out the best in every one of us. It doesn't just see people. It takes time to understand them. It puts the needs of others ahead of its own. And when you start with care, you end up with a very different kind of bank. Truist. Truist Bank, member FDIC.
Hey everybody, Robbie Stanley here to tell you about my friends at Jasper's as the neighborhood bar and restaurant to catch the next Preds game. Jasper's is located on West End Avenue and offers a fun atmosphere with a game room, TVs, and a large bar and lounge area. Plus they offer free parking. That's right, free parking on West End, and offer specials for every Preds game day, including $10 smash burgers and $3 bottled domestics. So come on down to Jasper's next game day for happy hour every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m. and 2-for-1 beers all day on Sundays. Just tell them that Robbie Stanley sent you.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge.
But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99.
You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
Every Wednesday, it's me, Jared Stillman, against Joe Rexroad for Jared versus Joe. Brought to you by Parman Tractor and Equipment. Visit ParmanTractor.com, your Middle Tennessee link belt and Takauchi dealer.
Hey Nashville, it's Max Kellerman, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025, The Game.
I suppose, Greeny, if you are the sort of person who believes in miracles, then you think that there could be a deal today. If you are a rational person, if you look at the way that the trajectory of this whole thing has gone, where for 1 year now they've been talking and have just inched forward, then yeah, we're not going to have baseball on opening day, and it's a shame, and it's a horrendous day for the sport, and a lot of people are to blame for this. And it's really, as Rob Manfred said himself, a disastrous outcome.
There you go. That was Jeff Passan, ESPN's insider. And, I mean, it kind of feels like everybody's been telling us for weeks and weeks and weeks that they're going to strike in baseball. And strike is the wrong word, because that would mean that the players are doing it. The owners have locked out the players. And if they don't have a deal done by today, they'll cancel games. And now you're hearing that the PA has the money to be able to take off all the first month of the year, and the owners want to take off the first month of the year because they don't make any money off the first month of the year anyways. And, just a bunch of bull crap from both sides. But we know the reality of the situation. Here's what's happening in baseball for everybody out there. And I put up a poll yesterday on Twitter, and I said, do you care about Major League Baseball missing games? It's not fair on this show because I like baseball and you like baseball. Ian, you like baseball the least amount of the three of us. Do you care if they miss games in baseball?
I voted yes on your poll.
Okay.
Only because I think not so much about me missing watching games, but I just think over what we've learned over the past little bit with the COVID and sports and not having sports, how much it affects other people than just the people watching the games.
Sure.
And just the infrastructure that those cities and local people and people, the economy, and who all that affects without having games, more than just me watching.
And I'm glad you said that, because there are people that are going to get it up the fanny because Major League Baseball owners are too greedy.
Because
bottom
billionaires
line.
want more money.
Yeah, so basically, here's the deal. Baseball revenues have soared through the roof, even though it's less and less popular. The owners don't care that it's less and less popular because they keep making more money, and they basically want to pay the players the same amount of money, and the players don't want to do that, which makes sense to me, right?
Right.
Like if the radio station became the #1 billing radio station in the United States, and Stillman and Company was its flagship program, an afternoon drive, I would be asking for a raise. Because if we're billing, $100 million, like at some point I'm going to say, hey, like what's going on here? I put out the poll. Do you care if Major League Baseball ends up missing actual games? 65% said no, 35% said yes. I think that's probably an accurate representation of Nashville. Why, though, am I bringing it up if I think 65% of the people that listen to this show don't care? Because all we talk about, everybody talking, we're going to get an MLB team, Jared. Jared, what do we think about baseball? What about that group that never does anything, that just goes out and says, we recruited Justin Timberlake to get a baseball team here, and they never do anything about it. Are they going to get a team here? You want to get in bed with these guys? Because that's what it would take. If you, and this goes back to kind of like the geopolitical stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, you want to be in oil? Look who you got to get in bed with.
Right.
You want a Major League Baseball team? Look who you got to work with. I mean, these owners will hold you up at gunpoint. And again, I say that metaphorically.
Right.
But they will hold you up if they can to shake out every coin out of your pockets. Because that's what they do. That's what they're doing right now. And they don't give one crap about the fans. And it's obvious.
Oh, yeah. They don't care about the sport. They don't care about the fans. They don't care about the players.
So you want to get in bed with these people? Because that's what it takes. Because in order for us to get the raise, which I think would be huge, in order for us to get the raise, we're going to have to kiss Stuart Sternberg's rear end. I think he's the owner of the Rays. You're going to have to kiss his rear end, and you're going to have to give him a lot of money. And then if the collective bargaining agreement's up and Dick Monfort of the Colorado Rockies isn't happy, then all those people that are promised jobs because we got a Major League Baseball team, because they're selling hot dogs or they're taking tickets or they're working, at the whatever, all those people are getting screwed because Dick Monfort wants his money in Colorado. Because all these small market owners want their money. Because the Steinbrenners with the Yankees, they don't make enough. Like, I'm going to say this, but the NFL actually cares about its fans. Do you remember how it used to be in the NFL? It used to be touchdown, extra point, commercial, kickoff, commercial. And it used to be the most painful. Like, it's 98 degrees at a Titans game, and we're taking a timeout after the kickoff. And the NFL realized people didn't like that. So what did the NFL do? Now have you noticed we're back in 30 seconds after this from Lowe's, and then boom, they're right back to it.
Yep.
Now that's giving up money in the short term. But it is because long term, fans will watch more.
You're improving
and
your
people will
product.
like it. Right. And so baseball, they don't care. Baseball does not care that it is a boring sport. Baseball does not care that the demographics skew older than they do younger. They do not care that it is essentially a regional sport and not a national sport anymore. They don't care. So my question is for everybody out there that thinks it's a good idea for us to get baseball, which I am one of, are you willing to get in bed with these guys after the just complete and total selfishness that we have seen from these asshats over the last however long it's been that they've been doing this. They locked the players out on December 2nd, and they didn't give an offer for 47 days. They don't care. Like, they do not care. They are trying to shake the players down as much as possible. And again, if you want a baseball team, you got to get in bed with them.
And there has been zero sense of urgency from either side in this entire negotiation.
I think the players have tried.
Maybe the players have, but on the owner's side at least, I have heard that there has been zero sense of urgency. Because if you wanted to play games, and if you cared about the fans who are taking in your product, then you would want the players to be on the field on opening day. But they haven't felt the need to do that because they don't care.
They do not care.
No.
Like, there's no...
They want money.
There's no doubt in my
mind
no
opening day,
that they don't care.
If the first game is played in May, they don't care.
And they spend all this time, like, telling us that owning a baseball team is not, like, profitable and that, like, at least the NFL. And again, you think Jerry Jones is ever going to cry poor? You think Jerry Jones is ever going to tell you, I don't make a lot of money from the Dallas Cowboys?
No.
Of course not.
Because I don't think that's the case either.
And not only that, like Jerry, the shame. Like, even if Jerry was losing money on the Cowboys, he wouldn't tell you.
No.
Like, he wouldn't want you to know that.
His precious Cowboys.
Baseball, though, it's like, oh, my God, these freaking owners. Oh, it's so hard being an owner.
Then don't do it.
No. They don't want to do that.
Oh, but you'll whine about it, and you'll complain, and, throw a fit about how you don't make enough money, but you're not going to get yourself out of it.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Sounds
and
good.
Basically, what the players are just saying, and I'm on the player side of this. Like, I'm rooting for the players. And America's got to get – do not look at this as it's billionaire versus millionaire and screw the millionaire, because I don't think that that's right. I think that and not screw the millionaire, but also, like, screw both of them because they're billionaires and millionaires, and I don't need to hear about I'm trying to over here feed my family, and here they are driving Porsches.
But a lot of people feel that way.
But
understandably so.
It's not the player's fault, though.
No, I'm not saying it's the player's fault, but I'm saying a lot of people probably view it like that.
And I'm telling people to not feel that way because it's not the player's fault. It's the owner's fault. And again, if you want a baseball team, and I want a baseball team, if you want a baseball team, you got to get in bed with these a-holes. And that's what I've realized from this. They're not getting nicer. So if they come into Rutherford County or Williamson County and build themselves a ballpark and make $1 gajillion from it, they're still going to want more of their pie, no matter what you do. I mean, I got the Titans over here trying to work with Metro to not have to get a new stadium built. Now they're going to have to get a new stadium built. And the Titans have told me, because I told the Titans, I said, I want a stadium like Cowboy Stadium. And they were like, yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that to the city. So at least the NFL will try to work with you a little bit. Mm-hmm. The Predators have worked with the city, and we don't ever hear about it, which I like. The baseball owners, they just want your money, and they don't care about you. And there is a level of detachment that I have that's like, you know what? If we have to get in bed with these jerks, I'm not so sure I want to do it anymore. And I think that's something I'd think about if I was baseball. Now, they're probably like, okay, this will all go away once the first crack of the bat, here's the ball. And I don't know. They keep saying that. They keep making their money, but at the end of the day, nobody cares about it enough for anybody to really talk about it around the country unless you have a team that's good. So do you want to be that way? Do you want to be like, the MLS? Because if you're good, they care about you in the MLS. Mm-hmm. Nobody else cares about the MLS. If you've got a bad MLS team, nobody cares. I mean, I think our MLS team's okay, and nobody cares. So if you want to be like the MLS, keep doing your thing, baseball. You'll make money. You'll make more than the MLS. But again, keep doing your thing. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Add that to the pot. We will reset our mission for today, and we got some shout-outs to give. Again, donating for Eddie O'Reilly, the Titans fan that was trapped in the Ukraine, who is now fled to Romania and is going to try to sit out this war in Germany. Needs your assistance. We've been kind of doing this all day, so we got some shout-outs of people that have given to the GoFundMe, which we will get back on, Stillman & Company, right here on ESPN 1025 The Game. Let me tell all the fine folks, and again, remind them that we're giving away Garth Brooks tickets today. Go to theGameNashville.com/deals to check out Nashville's best deals. Right now, there are deals for everything from half off the Woodhouse Spa, half off dining at the Mainstay and Hard Rock Cafe, half off Brooklyn Bowl, plus $50 free with the purchase of $100 in downtown dollars. Check out all of Nashville's best deals at theGameNashville.com/deals.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Sunshine continues this afternoon. High temperature 59 degrees. Tuesday up to 65, and then 70s for the second half of the week.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Nashville's Best Deals is a great place to score last-minute deals. Right now at theGameNashville.com/deals. Get everything from half off to the Woodhouse Spa, half off dining at the Mainstay and Hard Rock Cafe, also half off to Brooklyn Bowl, plus $50 free with a purchase of $100 in downtown dollars. Check out all these deals while supplies last at theGameNashville.com/deals. That's theGameNashville.com/deals.
Are you a father that is passionate about your fundamental constitutional right to parent your own child or children? Has your parenting time or your income been affected by COVID? This is Amanda J. Gentry, and I am a fierce defender of your constitutional rights. The courts in Tennessee are under an obligation to maximize equal parenting time. We do not live in an every other weekend world anymore. At the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, fathers are extremely important, much like my own father was. Go to AmandaJGentry.com or call or text 615-604-6263. That's AmandaJGentry.com.
The Electronic Express tax refund sale is going on now. Get huge savings in every department, including 4K TVs, mattresses, computers and tablets, housewares, smart home, and more. We have all of your appliance needs in stock and ready to deliver. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online with free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
When you want to rock.
Let's go, don't wait. This night's almost over. Do all the monsters come out at night? Why do we sleep when we want to?
We are Nashville's rock station. 102.9 The Buzz.
When a nasty cold keeps you up all night, Vicks NyQuil Severe gives you powerful relief from your worst cold and flu symptoms, which changes a night that sounds like this into a night that sounds more like this. Ah, that's better. NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, sore throat, stuffy head, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold, medicine. Use as directed.
Sometimes their glass is half full.
That was unbelievable. It was the best NFL draft they've ever had.
Sometimes glass half empty.
What are we getting ourselves into here? Tough game.
And sometimes it's all about the numbers.
One win, and they've gone on this streak, and now they're at 500.
Hang out with Darren, Donick, and Chase from 10 to 2 during your workday. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
This is Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
We got some shout-outs to give. Again, Eddie O'Reilly, a Titans fan that was trapped in the Ukraine. His wife, I believe, is Ukrainian. They have a daughter, and they stayed in Kyiv, which, I gotta say this, a braver man than me right there. They stayed in Kyiv over the weekend, and then it got the fighting and the, you know, the air sirens got to be too much. I was looking at his Twitter as a diehard Titans fan who was normally posting videos of him playing Madden in Kyiv, and then all of a sudden there's videos of him and his family going to hide. It kind of got me a little bit. There's a GoFundMe that's been organized for him. My Twitter, it is pinned to the top of the page, at Jared Stillman. We've been talking about this all day. This was Eddie O'Reilly on Saturday night when the bombing began again in Kyiv. Again, diehard Titans fan. This was him Saturday night on Twitter.
Just a quick update. I know I was talking to some of you guys just a minute ago. We just had sirens, so we had to run to the underground. We're here now, so we should be pretty safe. This is the corner that we sit in. There's the underground for the most part. Anyways, just a quick update. Thanks for the prayers. Talk later.
So again, you see that it's some pretty scary stuff.
Yeah.
So we've been trying to solicit donations. Again, there's a GoFundMe, my Twitter, it's at the top of it. And I've promised everybody who donates today to the GoFundMe will get a shout out today. We started at about $4,000. Now it's at about $5,100. And again, if you got $1 to donate, you'll get a shout out today. We'd love somebody to sit there and say, yeah, I got $5,000 to spend, or I got 100, whatever. But so Eddie has yesterday took a bus. They were originally going to take a train. Instead, it was easier to take a bus than a train. They took a bus from Kyiv to Romania, where I believe they are now. And he's trying to relocate to Germany, and who knows how long that will be. So I did promise shout-outs. Shout-outs we will give. Shout-out to Benjamin Hendricks. Big shout-out to Benjamin. Shout-out to Andreas Jekyll. Big shout-out within the last hour. Shout-out to Tyler Brown. Big shout-out there. Shout-out to Craig Woolley. And yesterday, he tweeted out, Eddie O'Reilly did, and again, let's keep those donations coming as he tries to restart his life with his family, a diehard Titan fan just like me and you. But he said yesterday that he was going to try to kind of give updates, but he couldn't really give updates along the way because for security reasons, they didn't want people to know where the bus was going to be.
Right.
And then also, not only that, but he wanted to conserve battery power on his phone throughout the day. And there's a lot of places in Ukraine where they don't have service. And, it's just horrible. And so I don't know about you guys, but for me to be able to go to the Stadium Series game Saturday night and to think as an American, the charmed lives that we get to live, this really hit close to home for me. Guy's a Titans fan who wants to talk about the Titans on Twitter, and instead now is running for his life. So anything you can give would be appreciated, and we are going to keep doing that throughout the day and try to raise as much money as possible. Again, go to my Twitter, @JaredStillman. It is right there. Click that link. And if you got $1 to donate, that's great. If you got $1,000 to donate, that's great. If you got $2,000, whatever you got, just click the link. Try to give a donation if you can. It'd be much appreciated. And you can donate anonymously with GoFundMe. What do we have in the text line? 615-737-1025 is our phone number, and our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHoney.com.
One texter texts in and says an MLB team in Nashville would be a disaster. It's a summer sport, and there's too much else to do in Nashville. It would be another baseball stadium mostly empty during games, and the Davidson County taxpayers would be paying most of that bill.
Now remember, what have I always told you when it comes to baseball in Nashville?
Not Davidson County.
Can't be Davidson County. And every time everybody's like, but Jared, what about downtown? The Titans are downtown. The arena is downtown. Downtown's fine. And we're not looking to pay for anything downtown other than a new Titan stadium.
Why do you not think that all three can exist downtown?
Because we can't afford a baseball stadium. We're going to pay $1.4 billion for a football stadium, and then you're going to pay $2 billion for a baseball stadium?
Well, you didn't want it to be in Davidson County even before all of the talks about the renovations of Nissan Stadium were even a thing.
Well, the renovations of Nissan Stadium were inevitable. At least ends in 2027.
But, before this article came out that said it
would double what was
stadium.
expected?
Yes.
Yeah. So we can't build more stadiums. So you got to go somewhere else where they're willing to do it because it ain't going to be here. To me, it was a non-starter because I understand the dynamics of how the city of Nashville works. And it's not that I don't want Davidson County taxpayers to pay for this, though I do not want Davidson County taxpayers to pay for this, especially with these jerkwads that own these baseball teams. But it's not what I think. It's what I know. And what I know is the politician that gets voted into Davidson County is not going to allocate taxpayer money to build a baseball stadium or really a baseball enclave for an owner to come in here and reap all the money. They're not doing it. Now, you get to these more, these not Nashville.
More
parts.
suburban.
Yeah. There's a chance. I don't think Rutherford County is all that realistic, though it's certainly more realistic than Davidson County. But I don't think Rutherford County is very realistic. That's why I keep saying, Williamson County. That's why I keep saying Rutherford County. Because I think they could look at it as okay, this is what puts Murfreesboro over the top. Because Murfreesboro has exploded. Mm-hmm. And it's okay, this is what puts us over the top. getting 9 home games against the Yankees every year puts us over the top. What else we got in the text line?
Another texter checks in and says, let's learn how to do football right before we bring in another major sport and team.
I mean, the Titans have been here for 25 years, and they're not going anywhere else. What's next?
Another texter says, thank you for sharing your perspective on the MLB. With the way you're putting it, I would not want to get in bed with them a-holes. In what way would bringing an MLB team into Nashville impact the Sounds?
So it's really weird about the Sounds dynamic. So the Sounds believe that they own the territorial rights for baseball in the Nashville area. So that anybody who want AA, Major League, whatever, that the Sounds, they'd have to buy the rights from the Sounds. I have no idea if that's actually true. Now, here's what I would think is interesting, is could you add some seats to First Horizon Park, which I don't know if you can or can't, which, by the way, is going to be TD Park soon. Could you add seats there and then say, okay, hey, we got 15,000 seats, we're playing with this? Since the Rays don't even draw 8,000 a night in Tampa, it's like you're going to double your money. You're going to be the hardest ticket to get in baseball. Your tickets can be pretty expensive. Every seat's going to be a good seat. But you're basically moving into a AAA stadium, and then they'd have to make some renovations to it and make it a little bit nicer or whatever. Could Major League Baseball do that for themselves? And I think the answer is no. Like, could they do it? I think they could.
Is that something that they're willing to do? I don't think so.
So, and I don't know. You know, these owners will do anything if they can make a buck off of it, so maybe they will. But I remember as a fan when there was talk about, you know, Greer Stadium's always been a piece of crap. And it was like, okay, you know, this is the end of Greer Stadium, so now we're going to try to build the Sounds a new stadium. And I remember I'm like, you build the Sounds a new stadium, goodbye to Major League Baseball coming here. And I still kind of feel that way a little bit, but maybe there are things they can do. Like, how many games are sold out in Major League Baseball anyways? Do you really need 50,000 seats? Like, if you make the World Series, you could have 70,000 seats. But in general, could you get by with 18,000 seats or however many you can fit into that ballpark? And I don't know the answer to that. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. But again, the Sounds claim that they have the territorial rights, so who knows? We will continue to give shout-outs today. If you donate, again, on Twitter, my Twitter page, it's right there. If you get in, we will get a shout-out, again, for all the people that are donating to Eddie O'Reilly as he has fled the Ukraine with his wife, with his kid. You know, knock on wood for everybody else out there in Ukraine, but a Titans fan from America who's stuck there. We want to do our part for him. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. What a great weekend of college basketball. And what about the Vols and everything else? We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Did you see the Tennessee Titans? He has all the weapons to make it happen.
There's so much to pay attention to. Greeny from 9 to 11.
Ryan Tannehill is the most disrespected player.
Art and Han from 11 to 2.
You never stop punching. They've got to learn how to close the deal.
And the Paul Feinbaum Show afternoons from 2 to 6.
Are these legitimate contenders to the party?
Your exclusive home for ESPN Radio in the Music City.
ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
This is Chef John from Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville. Inviting you to come join us for breakfast and lunch. We're offering some exciting new menu items. We have Grandma's famous chicken and dumpling soup. We're offering a fun and new exciting Nashville hot battered shrimp. We're also very excited about our confit chicken hash. Join us in Kitchen Notes for our award-winning patty melt made with our house-made pimento cheese, local Blackhawk Farms beef patty. Come join us in Kitchen Notes and create a memorable experience here at the Omni Hotel. Food is all about memories for us. We'd like you to start a new memory here at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Hotel.
Lunch at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
When Smashville wants to rock.
I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Looking to the sky, saving, looking for a sign of life, 'cause it's too cold for you here.
We are Nashville's rock station. 102.9 The Buzz.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
An effective defense often hinges on sophisticated strategies relating to income tax projections, business valuations, spousal support claims. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 615-457-8700. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Offices in Nashville, Franklin, Murfreesboro, and Gallatin. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
It's the hits, the cheers, the goals. Who's ready for some hockey in Smashville? Join us at Bridgestone Arena on March 8th, 10th, and 12th to watch your Nashville Predators take on fierce rivals, the Dallas Stars, Anaheim Ducks, and St. Louis Blues. Single game tickets are available now. Visit NashvillePredators.com/tickets to purchase today. Grab your friends and your gold, because Smashville is waiting for you. NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Let's go, Preds.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County,
ESPN
102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell media station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Again, go to my Twitter at Jared Stillman, and you'll see pinned to the top the link for you to donate to the GoFundMe. Eddie O'Reilly, the Titans fan that has fled Ukraine, starting over with his wife and kid. They're going to try to relocate to Germany. We're trying to raise $10,000. We got $5,000. Can we get? I know there's lists. I know Stillman and Company is a popular show. I know. Even if it's $1 at a time, we can get a significant amount of money donated for a Titans fan stuck in Ukraine. Anything you can give, if you can give, not trying to pressure anybody, but again, go to my Twitter page. That anybody who does donate in the next hour with the entire show today is how we're going to do this. Shout out to anybody who donates. So we've been giving shout outs today. We will continue to give said shout outs. So I don't know about you guys, but I found myself watching a lot of college basketball this weekend. I am not a college basketball fan. Like I used to be. I used to be a diehard college basketball guy. Like would even care about it in November and December. And then, I don't know, maybe I got burnt out on it because I worked in it. And then I was on the radio in Louisville where they truly care about it every single day of the year. And I got back here. Maybe it's because the local teams kind of stink a little bit. Tennessee always has a nice little run during the season. They're embarrassing in March. And then Vanderbilt has been an unmitigated disaster since, really, I've been on the radio here since it took them way too long to fire Kevin Stallings. And ever since everything else that's happened there, they've wasted an incredible career by Scottie Pippen Jr., which they will continue to waste as they did on Saturday. But I watched a lot of college basketball. I mean, a lot.
It was a fun weekend.
Everybody lost.
Yeah.
And all these games came down to the wire. I mean, like Kentucky, Arkansas, that game came right down to the wire. I don't know about you guys, but like that's what college basketball is.
Especially this time of year.
There is a feeling. When there is a game that goes down to one possession and you hear that CBS music, Ian, if you could get me that CBS music, there is a feeling that you get with a game that goes right down to the wire with two good teams, and the fans are super into it, which they are in college basketball, especially if you've got CBS there, to Caroline's point, especially this time of the year. But I think what's amazing is I think Juwan Howard's punch last week is kind of what opened everybody's eyes to college basketball again. I felt like the Super Bowl ended, and then there was a weekend, not this past weekend, but last weekend, where I was sitting there and I'm like, what is on TV? And I'm just like flipping. And it's like click, click, click. And nobody cares about the NBA All-Star Game. And nobody cares about NASCAR anymore. And nobody can get into, like, you know, you can get into your team with hockey, but you can't get into all the other teams. And then all of a sudden, there's like golf, the John Deere Classic. Who cares?
Yeah.
Jim Nantz cares. Nobody else does. And it's like, goodness gracious, what is there to watch? And then all of a sudden, you see Juwan Howard try to punch that guy. And it's like, oh, yeah. College
There it
basketball.
is.
And then you got a great game, Kentucky and Arkansas. Great game, Villanova, Connecticut earlier this week. I mean, it feels like basketball. And there, Tennessee beats Auburn. Great game over the weekend. Gonzaga, Baylor. Like, it was a great weekend. And last year was super boring because Gonzaga and Baylor were the two best teams, and nobody was close to them. And even though UCLA had a nice run and it was an interesting Final Four game, it was still rather boring. You know, the whole season, we knew those were the two best teams. They ended up playing the championship, whatever. This year, you got Coach K and Duke, his last crack at it. You've got Kentucky, who, when they play at Rupp Arena, they're the best team in the country.
Unstoppable.
And when they play not at Rupp Arena, they stink. Tennessee, who is incredible at home and horrendous on the road. You've got...
And horrendous in March, traditionally.
Well, we don't know that yet.
Traditionally.
We don't know that yet, which we'll get to. But, I mean, it was a great weekend, and there's great storylines. I mean, again, this is Coach K's last. Could you imagine a regional final, Coach K versus Cal? Either Coach K gets the one last Final Four, or Kentucky, a blue blood, gets in there. You got the Michigan coach trying to punch people, and now they're on the bubble, and they're playing interesting games where they could get in or they could be out. You got the resurgence of Connecticut. I mean, you got star coaches like Jay Wright at Villanova. I mean, I'm telling you, it's wide open this year. Like last week was the punch, and no pun intended, was the punch in the face that Michigan gave college basketball, and now it felt like this past weekend college basketball was back. Now, college basketball needs this because for the most part, it is a rather irrelevant sport. The NBA is this way with the month of June, which is there's nothing else in sports. And so if you can get LeBron into the NBA Finals, which absolutely will not happen this year, but if you can get like LeBron into the NBA Finals or Steph Curry or Kobe or like I don't know if James Harden and Joel Embiid are going to do that, but if there's nothing else on television, we'll be there at home at night and we'll flip on the TV and we'll put on basketball, even though deep down inside we don't really care that much. College basketball is similar in that regard that there's kind of like an empty hole of sports right now. The Combine will happen this weekend, so that will kind of get us back a little bit into football. But for the month of March, football usually sits it out until they gear up for the draft. And none of the other sports are all that interesting right now. So there's basketball, and what makes basketball more interesting than the NBA is that in the NBA, there's like 4 teams at the end, and the conference finals and NBA finals, because there's 7 games for each one, they take like 6 months to play. In basketball, we're going to have the conference tournaments next week, and then after the conference tournaments, we go right to the tournament, and then it's over. And more people care about college basketball here because more people are college fans here than are NBA fans. So it really got what it needed, from the Juwan Howard fallout to the interesting games that were played this weekend to the fact that deep down inside, I feel like a lot of sports fans like me and you and everybody else kind of have this feeling in our heart that we need something to watch on television. And for me, it's college basketball, because when you get a close game, even if it's 2 teams that I don't care about, and you show me a bracketology and you explain to me why this game matters, or you've got a conference game and you give me that CBS music, please, you get that, it almost feels like, you know what? I can do this. I'm excited. I'm excited to watch the tournament. Now, I'm not going to break down individual games because I don't think people care about individual basketball games. Like when Zion Williamson was at Duke, there was kind of that element to it. I don't think there's like any one player that is that interesting. But I think the sport as a whole I think, got a little rejuvenation that they needed. And perhaps this year the NCAA tournament might have some serious juice to it.
See, I don't know if it was the Juwan Howard situation that just brought all of the eyes to college basketball, or if that's just a natural progression of sports fandom throughout the year. That after the Super Bowl, eyes just naturally go to college basketball because that's the only other thing that's on. Of course, you have hockey, of course, you have NBA. But I think that people start to really care about college basketball once football is over, and also because the season is dwindling down and it's getting into crunch time. Like, it's getting into tournament season. So I don't know how much of it was necessarily Juwan Howard. That didn't hurt in terms of, getting eyes on the sport and of making it relevant again and making it a topic of discussion again. But I also just think that's natural every year around this time.
No, last year
after
no
the
one
Super
gave
Bowl.
two freaking poops about college basketball.
Or did you just not give two freaking poops
No.
about college basketball
No,
last year?
Ian, back me up on this. Like, unless you're basketball Benjamin Joseph R. Rexroad, like, you do not. I mean, I don't remember anybody giving two poops last year about college basketball.
The Vols, I guess we talked a little bit, but no, it was a weird season.
The only thing that we talked about with the Vols last year was when I wanted to put
When you
$1,000
wanted to
on
bet.
Oregon State,
Mhm.
and you talked me out of it.
Well, also, too, I think so much of college basketball
I stayed
is
neutral
the
in that.
fanfare.
Thank you very much.
But I think so much of it is the fanfare. And, the environment. Like, March Madness is so exciting because everyone's freaking out in the stands, and you got the poor girl in the Villanova band crying after they lost. I
Poor
think
girl.
so much of it is just the environment. And we didn't have that in college basketball last
We
year.
also didn't have, like, any interesting storylines. And
Yeah,
can I say one thing? Can we get rid of the freaking half zips? Like, can we
Are we
please-
back to this again?
I mean, it's so embarrassing for the sport.
I don't think so
It's
at
so
all.
degrading.
I think you are so elitist in
It's
terms
so,
of what college
it's-
basketball coaches
It's so
wear.
degrading. Then why don't we have people wear half quarter zips when they go to court?
Because this is college basketball. This is not court. And if you'd like to wear a quarter zip at court, by all means, do it.
Well, you're not allowed to wear quarter zip at court.
Well, okay.
Because it's not
Because it's court and it's not
too
college
serious.
basketball.
And how much money do these coaches make?
A lot.
You can't wear a suit?
They probably can.
I mean, again.
But they're yelling at a bunch of kids wearing shorts and sneakers.
It looks so classless.
I think
when
that
I
you are
see
just
these
being elitist.
beer bellies that are just popping out of these quarter zips.
Okay, we do
from
not.
guys. First of all, we have always body shamed. We will always continue to body shame.
You can
I'm
body
sorry.
shame. I will not.
But when I see these beer bellies from these coaches just pop, like Coach K, let's use Coach K.
Okay.
We've seen Coach K for like 50 years coaching college basketball.
Long time.
And he has always looked well put together, even though like he's had those back surgeries and stuff where like, he and Phil Jackson there towards the end couldn't really, Phil had to sit in that special chair.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird looking. But like he always looked, on point. I mean, he won Rick Pitino, but he looked on point.
Jerry Stackhouse.
On
Always
point.
got a
The guy,
fit.
he can't coach a lick, but boy, he looks the part. And it kills me because now I see Coach K in this quarter zip, and I'm looking at like this is Mike freaking Krzyzewski. This guy has probably made $100 million in his career coaching basketball. And back in his day, I'm sure they probably wore suits to practice. That was how serious they. And I'm sitting here looking at this guy with his beer belly hanging out over his stomach over there, sitting there trying to coach basketball. I'm like, Coach K, do this for you, not for me, but do it for you. Because you look so much better in the suit than you do in that lazy quarter zip.
Give me Bruce Pearl sweating through his dry fit Nike polo over Jerry Stackhouse, who can't coach a team wearing a nice, very nice
when
suit.
Bruce Pearl used to wear the orange jacket?
I do.
I mean, those days are gone.
He can still wear it if he wants to.
No, I think we got to.
I mean, how much do football coaches make?
I think we have to force the coaches back to. But if you look at football coaches, they wear khakis on the sidelines. They're coaching
Well, they're
outdoors.
not over there wearing sweatpants.
They're coaching outdoors. This here, the college basketball, I mean, this is indoors. Every other indoor sport wears suits when they coach inside for the most part that I can think of. We got to get back to the suits. Football, they wear polos, coaches. Now, some of them try to do the little dry fit T-shirt, which I do not like. Don't get me worked up on that. Cliff Kingsbury, you can't coach a lick, but he wants to sit there in a T-shirt and coach the game. But, again, with basketball, I'm just saying, I think it was Chad Withrow said it to me best. He goes, it feels like they went on a field trip and they never came back. And I totally agree with that. And I think these coaches need to get back in suits. I think the NBA coaches need to get back in suits. But as far as interesting for college basketball, I feel like we arrived. Now, the Vols won a very big game. And I will say this, to every fired-up Tennessee fan, you get like this every year. And so I'm going to make a deal with the fired-up Tennessee fan that was excited about the Vols beating Auburn on Saturday. And we'll do that next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Let me tell you about my friends at TriStar Moving. I moved over a year ago, and I moved over a year ago, and my friends at TriStar did an absolutely fantastic job. That's right. Moving sucks. Everybody knows it. But when you move with people you trust and people that will get the job done right, it is so worth it. From the initial phone call to the final signature, moving was an absolute breeze. Like most people, I hate moving, but not anymore when you got friends like I do at TriStar Movers. They took care of everything. Home protection with the floors, banisters, railings, door jambs, and even the doors themselves. And they took care of everything. They have a brand new state-of-the-art storage facility as well in Mount Juliet. So if you're looking to move, give them a call. 615-640-1219. Or visit their website at nationalmoving.org/radio, where they'll give you 5% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219. Nationalmoving.org/radio. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you for 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving. It is my official mover.
Do you have that one person or thing that just makes you mad? Join us every Friday at noon on the DDC for You Just Made the List. Fueled by Parman Energy. Visit ParmanEnergy.com. Your one-stop petroleum solution, and TriStar Moving on the DDC on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
You just made the list. Ray Magliozzi here. eBay Motors has the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. Now I got no excuse not to finish my car. But I'll find one. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
When you work here at Cromwell Media, the owner of this radio station, you're joining a really great bunch of people. We care about each other, and we care about our customers. It shows in everything we do, day in, day out. And 2 of our teammates are celebrating anniversaries this month, and we want to salute them. Drew Chester on our sales team has been with us for 4 years, and Elijah Campbell, the producer of our midday show on 102.5 The Game, is celebrating 3 years. Thanks, Drew and Elijah, for all that you do, and for making Cromwell Media such a great place to work.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe of Darren, Donick, and Chase. I started my radio career as an intern right here at ESPN 102.5 The Game. Now we're looking for our next great batch of interns. You think that's you? Send your resume to together@cromwellmedia.com to apply today.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
Everyone loves shopping online. Well, I'm going to tell you what I tell my golf buddies when they buy clubs. Stop searching for coupon codes. Download Capital One Shopping to your computer. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them at checkout. Plus, it's free, and you don't even need a Capital One card to use it. That's like hitting a hole-in-one without even trying. Capital One Shopping. It's kind of genius. What's in your wallet?
Savings and available coupons vary.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Well, they got 10 on the shot clock. Chandler thought about a 3. Blow by. The floater. It gets it to go. What a huge home court roll.
There you go. Tennessee basketball. They beat Auburn on Saturday. And I've watched now a handful of Tennessee basketball games. I am not going to pretend like I watch every game like I'm some kind of sports expert that knows everything there is to know about Tennessee basketball. I'm not going to pretend like that to you because I am not going to lie. I am a truth teller. And as I continue to tell the truth on this radio program, I have a hard time getting excited for Vol basketball, though I do see people that are excited about Vol basketball every time they win a big home game this year, which happens to be every big home game they play. They play Arizona at home, they win. They play Kentucky at home, they win. They play Auburn at home, they win. Mm-hmm. They play all these teams at home and they win. Then they play them on the road and they lose. But I almost feel like this is cyclical. And I feel the cycle starting again. I can't even tell you the starting lineup for Tennessee. I'm going to try.
Okay.
Kennedy Chandler.
Mm-hmm.
Vescovy.
Okay.
Josiah Jordan-James.
Yep.
Fulkerson.
Yep.
Ziegler.
I think that's right.
Hey, I'm actually kind of impressed with myself.
I think that's right.
Sometimes Ziegler comes in as the sixth man.
Uh-huh.
There you go. Basketball expert Ian over there. So I got to tell you, and the reason I can't get into it is because, like I said, it feels very cyclical, which is that it's very exciting throughout the course of the year. Tennessee wins a game in November, and the diehard Tennessee fans care, but nobody else cares here because we're all focused on football. Then when football's over, we turn to basketball, and the Tennessee fans who have watched every Tennessee game are pounding their chest about how the Vols are going to be good and how we should all pay attention. And then we start to pay attention, and then they make the NCAA tournament, and they lose. Right away. They lose to a team they shouldn't. Last year was Oregon State. I think they lost in 2019. I believe they lost to a Purdue team that they were better than in Louisville. They lost to Sister Jean and Loyola Chicago, who they shouldn't lose to. That's just what they do with him as the coach, is they just lose in March every year. And when I see these people that are all excited, the Chad Withrows of the world, God bless him, but when I see these people that are like, look at the Vols now, baby, what do you think now? I'm like,
been here before.
Call me in March. Now, I am a little nervous to be talking about this at 419 because I'm not sure that many people in Nashville, Tennessee care. I feel like we could be talking about the Titans quarterback situation and more people would care about that than they do about Tennessee basketball. I also think a lot of Tennessee fans know in their hearts that I'm right about this, but I'm willing to make a deal. And again, I'm in a good mood today. I'm willing to make a deal. I will promise you that if Tennessee, because I don't care about anything that happens in the SEC tournament, I don't care. Anything that happens in the regular season, I absolutely do not care. And again, I don't think our city cares enough about what happens in the regular season. But if Vol fans can promise me that they won't choke this year in the NCAA tournament. So now, if they're like a 2 seed and they get to the Elite 8 and they lose to a 1 seed.
That's not joking.
I'm not going to go. You get to the Sweet 16 and you lose to a 9 seed. I ain't going to be that. That's not acceptable. That's Rick Barnes basketball. If you can promise me that they will not choke this year, you got to pick one way or the other. You can say today, I promise you, Jared, that I believe in this team so much that they will not choke. But if they do choke, which I think they will, then you have to forever give up on the idea that any March can be different from the previous Marches before it. So if they choke this year in March, you have to admit that Rick Barnes can't win in the tournament. Even though we have, just mountains of evidence that proves that he cannot win in March outside of his Black Swan, the 2003 Texas team with TJ Ford at point guard that went to the Final Four. Other than that, Rick Barnes has won nothing when it comes to the month of March in college basketball. So if you're a Tennessee fan that truly believes in the Vols and you want to get excited about it, you can have it, but you have to make the promise with me on the other side that future Marches, if they choke, you cannot believe in Rick Barnes. Now, my end of the bargain would be if they end up going to a Final Four, then I have to forever forgive Rick Barnes and never talk about how he's a pants crapper in March. And I'm willing to do that. But I just don't think it's going to happen. Because they stink away. Well, I should stink strong word.
They're not as strong.
They're not good away from their home.
No.
And guess where you don't get to play in the NCAA tournament?
Home.
So this idea of oh, my God, look what they did to Kentucky. They will never do that to Kentucky on a neutral court. They will not do that in Tampa to Kentucky. They will not do that. They will not beat Arizona on a neutral floor. They will not do what they did this past week to Auburn. They will not do that when they're not at Thompson Bowling. I don't know what it is about Thompson Bowling, but I guess it's like the best home court in America. Good for you. But it's never decided on home court. This isn't pro sports where you get to play at home. So I'm just telling I just so see this as a setup for these Tennessee fans. And I don't think they're going to lose in the first round, but I think it's going to be iffy. And remember that 2019 run? They almost lost every game along the way. Who was it they played in the first game? Towson? They almost lost to them. They almost lost to Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
They almost lost to everybody until it finally caught up to them against Purdue. I mean, they just stunk in the tournament. Rick Barnes stinks in the tournament, and so I need, like every year, Tennessee basketball, again, Joe Rexroad, diehard fan of college basketball.
Yep.
Joe wants to talk about these teams like we don't know what's going to happen. And I'm like, if they do this again, then you got to stop pretending in December when you're trying to shove college basketball down the people's throats and nobody cares about it because it's football season. You got to stop pretending that like the chapter is not already finished. Because to me, for Rick Barnes, it is. This is the last crack that he gets. For you guys trying to talk to me about him, this is the last shot he gets. And if this happens, I'm never listening again. As far as Rick Barnes can do it, Jared, he's a great no.
Well, I was talking to a Tennessee fan about that today. I was questioning how long Rick Barnes' future is in Tennessee if he continues to get bounced in the tournament. Maybe it's not first round, maybe it's not second round, but against an opponent that you should have beaten. And that Tennessee fan said, I'm fine with getting bounced in the tournament. I'm fine with not having success in March because it's really fun to have a fun regular season. And I said, you cannot believe that. You absolutely positively cannot believe that you're fine with losing in the tournament and you're fine with losing in March because the regular season's really fun.
I mean, if you want to say that, then you're just not basketball. I think you just do not care about college basketball.
I mean, but I feel like that's something that Tennessee fans might convince themselves of. Like, we had a great season. We had a ton of fun. On to the next one.
Boy, I tell you. I just want
and I don't
you
know
to
if that's every Tennessee fan.
When your standards for your basketball program, when you pay your coach as much as you pay your coach and people pump your coach's tires up as much as they punch them up, and I want Tennessee fans to understand this, and I'm sure that this is not representative of all Tennessee fans, but I want Tennessee fans to understand this. When your approach is not as serious as Vanderbilt baseball fans approach their team, that's depressing. It's like I see the Lady Vols. They lost yesterday to LSU, right?
Yes, they did.
Okay, so they lost again. And Tennessee Lady Vol fans get on me because I thought Kelly Harper was a bad hire when they hired her.
Well, they're still a ranked team.
Sure.
But lost to a team that was ranked higher than them.
But this is the Lady Vols.
Yes.
Like,
this program has standards.
This is Pat Summit. You know what I mean? Like, this is the Lady Vols. This is not, hey, they made the tournament, went to the Sweet 16. I mean, it shouldn't be that way. I mean, this is not that way to me. But if you're going to start telling me, well, we had fun during the regular season, go get you a Ryan Tannehill jersey because that is what you need. Because, I mean, good God, people. What? This is college basketball. Nobody in Nashville cares about college basketball if it's not for the tournament. And I'm telling you, I don't like talking about college basketball 4:30, and we're still technically in the month of February. I don't like it unless a coach is punching another coach on the sidelines. I'm not sure I like it. By the way, Casey Alexander, the Belmont coach, texted me, said you've lost your mind, I think in reference to the quarter zips.
Probably so.
I sent him the link to josephabank.com, and I said go find a couple suits you like.
Why are you so hung up on that? Why does it matter? It doesn't affect the game whatsoever.
Again, it doesn't affect your courtroom to have somebody wearing a quarter zip, but you don't do it. It's like if you have a black tie wedding.
Is court and college basketball now on the same standard?
If you have a black tie wedding, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's a certain decorum that you are telling people, hey, this is how I want you to dress to my wedding.
Yes.
So anything beneath that is a sign of disrespect, right?
Probably so.
Okay, because you're not classy enough for the wedding. Well, why do I have to wear a suit to get married?
Because it's an event.
Okay, but not everybody wears suits to get married.
No, not if you don't want to.
I want to be comfortable when I get married.
Oh, then get married in swim trunks for all I
care.
Because
it looks like crap.
It's your wedding. Do whatever you want.
That's why people do not wear quarter zips to court, and that's why they do not wear. Quarter zip is like
wedding and a college basketball game are not the same level of decorum.
You know how there's a luncheon in the Patron Platinum Club at Bridgestone Arena before we do the show a lot of times? There's a luncheon, and there's all these business leaders, and I don't even know what the luncheon's for. And honestly, I don't even care. But there's like a luncheon that's going on as we're walking in to go to the studio at the Patron Platinum Club. There was a day where because I don't mind wearing a quarter zip, quarter zip, slacks, whatever, but not to something that you should wear a suit to. You know what I mean? But I saw a guy wearing a quarter zip and like kind of not cargo khakis, but they definitely could have been
cargo-esque.
khakis. Yeah, like they weren't the nice khakis. These weren't Dockers. You know what I'm talking about here? So I saw this guy. He was wearing. Everybody else was wearing a suit. Guy stuck out like a sore thumb. You just not at the level of classiness that I feel like you need to be. And that's how I feel about college basketball. When these coaches make as much money as they do, they can put a damn suit on to tell everybody how seriously that they take their job. Just like how when you wear a suit to court, you're telling people how seriously that you take being in court.
Well, you don't wear a suit to your job.
And I don't take my job. My job is talking about sports.
Yes, and you take it very seriously, as you should.
But it's not the same.
Why?
Because talking about sports. Now, if this were like the 50s, you know, back in the day when it was like talking about sports, there's like a level of expectation from people that they want it to be more relaxed, which is why we use more coarse language than, say, the Today Show, because it's just a different element. Now, and I told you, like Pat McAfee, for example, he uses the coarsest language.
Yes, he does.
Probably in sports radio. And he wears a tank top. But that's because that's the vibe of that show. To me, the vibe of Coach K is not a quarter zip. It is a suit. It is serious. It is on the sidelines. It is Pat McAfee is talking about how he took 30 weed edibles because he was afraid when he was with the Colts to go through the airport in London with customs. So and he couldn't throw them out because he was with the Colts and he didn't want somebody seeing him throw it. So he took 30 weed edibles at one time.
My word, that's
a lot.
A lot.
Which I'm not judging, but I'm just saying. And like that's his vibe.
Yeah.
So he can wear that because that fits that vibe. This vibe.
Well, the college basketball vibe is changing.
No. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Change like baseball into irrelevance.
Well, baseball has changed, and that's the problem.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We will get to your phones on this coming up. 615-737-1025. That is our phone number if you'd like to get in. Plus, we do have some NFL rule changes I want to get to, and we're going to go over the quarterback carousel, and there's just so much before the combine, so we'll do that. Stillman & Company, it's ESPN 1025 The Game.
Want the latest on the Predators from the people that cover them?
Heck of a year so far for the Predators. They've been so much fun to watch.
Join Robbie Stanley for Preds Insiders every Monday at 6.
I feel probably as good about this group of 6 on D.
Presented by Dr. Kelly Rice on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Chef John from Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville. Inviting you to come join us for breakfast and lunch. We are offering some exciting new menu items. For breakfast, we have a smoked prime rib hash. Comes with a sunny side up egg, hominy, caramelized onions. It's a great start to your day. We are featuring a sourdough pancake made with a sourdough bread starter. It's a fun spin on the classic buttermilk pancake. As always, Kitchen Notes is serving biscuits all day. Come join us and create a memorable experience here at the Omni Hotel. Food is all about memories for us. We'd like you to start a new memory here at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Hotel.
Breakfast at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Wow, I've got a whole 5 minutes before my next call. What should I do? Grab a snack? Nah. Text with mom? That's more than a 5-minute proposition. I have been looking at getting a new bank account. Is that even possible?
Can't believe you have extra time? You won't believe what you can do with it. Open a Regions checking account online in as little as 5 minutes. Then enjoy award-winning service and banking tools and tech that help you live in the moment. Learn more at regions.com/live-in-the-moment. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
To understand what makes Genesis Diamonds so different than other jewelry stores, you have to go back over 40 years to the diamond cutting capital of Tel Aviv, Israel. That's where Genesis owner Boaz Ramon grew up, in the center of the diamond universe. His connections with the best diamond cutters allowed him special access, giving rise to a thriving wholesale business here in the United States. Then, after a few years, this wholesaler changed the game and started selling these precious diamonds direct to the public at the same prices he had sold to the jewelry stores. The no middleman concept became an instant success. Today, Genesis Diamonds provides that extraordinary value to people right here in Middle Tennessee, leading the industry with the highest quality diamonds that still come straight from the best cutters, offered at the guaranteed best price of any jewelry store in America. Genesis Diamonds, a truly revolutionary concept with a unique history rooted in quality, committed to excellence, and always focused on value. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Thinking about making a change? You've put in the years and had success, but ready for something more? Well, good news. Little Guys Movers is looking for folks just like you to own and operate their very own Little Guys Movers franchise. From Broadway to Brentwood to Mount Juliet, if you can hear my voice, there's an affordable, profitable Little Guys franchise opportunity nearby. Use your existing 401k to invest in yourself. Financing options are available. Join a team with 30 plus years of growth and good times. Learn more at littleguysfranchise.com and then make that call.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good,
Really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless. Now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, it's Mike Greenberg, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
So the website Rocky Top Insider pulled up. I like Rocky Top Insider. I feel like they're kind of it's a good Tennessee fan site. You know, not so much like, you know, Fox Sports, Knoxville Radio, the fanboy talk or whatever, where they just get on there and yell at you if you tell them, you know, maybe don't say F Sister Jean. You know, and they lose their minds about that kind of stuff. And they kind of like represent like kind of the classless part of the Vol fan base, but that's fine. I actually haven't picked a fight with them in a while, so I'm not trying to do that now. But I'm like, okay, let's see what their articles are. Let's see what they're talking about. First thing, where Tennessee basketball teams rank in the February 28th AP poll. Anybody give two poops?
Not really.
Kennedy Chandler awarded weekly SEC honor. Okay.
That's exciting for him.
Tennessee checkering Thompson bowling for the Arkansas game.
Pretty cool.
Tony Vitello talks about Vols' baseball sweep and the basketball win over Auburn.
Tennessee baseball is putting up some runs now.
Evaluate Tennessee's SEC championship chance with a week left in the season. Who cares? Like, where's the article that basically says, is Rick Barnes going to poop his pants in the NCAA tournament? ? Because it's the only thing that matters. And I feel like there's a lot of Tennessee fans that don't want to talk about that because they know it's true. And so they want to avoid it. And then I think the reality for our business is I am just not sure anybody truly cares about college basketball. I thought that this was going to be, people were going to be like, yeah, Jared, I'm buzzed up for college basketball after this weekend. And we've been doing this now for 30 minutes. I don't feel that way now. I do not feel like the people buzzed. I feel like we missed out on 30 minutes. I should apologize to our advertisers because 30 minutes I could have done talking about who should play quarterback for the Titans next year, and I didn't do that, and I should have done that.
It's not what Vol fans want to hear.
That Rick Barnes might poop his pants?
Yes.
But they were the ones that got the most mad last year when he did it. The rest of us were like, we told you so.
Because it's not a fun conversation to have right now in their eyes, I have to assume, to say that, you know, where we are right now, Tennessee's been playing well. And they
where does Lenardi have them?
I don't know.
So I think he's got them as a 3. And again, I'm not
that seems like the most likely seed.
I'm not Johnny College basketball, honestly. I used to be. I truly used to just freaking love this stuff. I was the biggest Vanderbilt fan as a kid. Oh, my God. But, like, I saw Memphis is like the last team in Lenardi's bracket. Weren't we just like laughing at Penny Hardaway trying to punch the reporter or whatever, or threatening to, you know, whatever he did with the reporter a couple weeks ago where he yelled at him, or I can't remember.
I don't know.
But we've been laughing at him for a while.
Well, we've been laughing at Penny Hardaway for having so much talent on that team and not being able to win anything worth a damn.
I just think we laugh at Penny because it's just such a joke. But apparently they haven't made the tournament. Let's see where Lenardi's got the Volunteers here. Now, bracketology's all screwed up. It's like too cool for, you know, just pulling it. He's got them as a 3. So they are a 3 in Milwaukee. So they would, according to him, take on Northern Iowa and then the winner of North Carolina versus Iowa. Yeah.
Woohoo.
But, like, seriously. Like, again, I mean, I just don't think enough people in Nashville care. And this goes right back to my pre-Music City Bowl take, which got everybody all riled up, which is Tennessee just does not move the needle in this city like it used to. And this is obvious. I mean, even a couple years ago, now they were number 1 in the country, but when they were decent, like this is a change that is very quick. This is not like an over 30-year trend where it's like, wow, you know, back then it was here and now it's here. It's like, you know, 3 years ago it felt like people cared more. 4 years ago, it feels like people cared more. I just think Nashville's getting too big. Too many people are moving here that don't care about the Vols. And this is another example of that. Let's go to your phones. Text line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What do we have?
One texter texts into the text line and says, road wins are hard to get for anyone. And they go on to say something else very important that I can't see right now. But it's very important from David that says that road wins are very important, or very hard to get for anyone in college basketball, essentially.
Yeah, I just don't believe that to be true. Now, I will say, like, I can look at Gonzaga and say, hey, they went on the road a lot, but then again, their conference, whatever. I just think Tennessee there's like a college basketball is the number one sport where home court matters the most.
Mm-hmm.
Like pro sports, it doesn't matter because the skill of the players is so good. College, the kids are so young. They get so easily rattled and the fans are right on top of you. College football, they're still away from you. In this, they're right on top of you. But at the same time, if you want to prove to me that you can win in March, you're going to have to win some games on the road. And every time Tennessee has had a semi-tough team on the road, it feels like, over the last month, they lose. What's next?
Another texter says, and texting regarding the suit situation, says, I think what you're really talking about is tradition. In general, how much do each of you value tradition in sports?
So, that's a little tough because there are certain traditions I value. I do not value the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving Day.
We can get rid of that.
I do not need to watch them play every time. I do not value that tradition. But there are a lot of traditions that I do value in sports. I mean, is it tradition? To me, it's just like when I see these coaches wearing quarter zips on the sidelines, it feels like what I interpret is like the coach is basically saying, yeah, I'm too lazy to put on some nice clothes to go coach in front of you. That's how I feel. You can say whatever you want. That you can say it's nonsensical. That's how I feel.
I just don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, to the texter's point, how much do I value tradition in sports? A lot. I think it's important. Pre-game traditions.
Well, I don't think who calls the game is that big of a deal, but they're paying Troy Aikman $18 million, so apparently it matters to somebody.
But times
Why
are
can't
changing.
he call the game in a quarter zip?
Times are changing. How many times do people wear suits to work anymore? You just don't. Traditionally, there are some jobs where you do. There are some jobs where you never did. But traditionally, your classic 9-to-5 job, let's say, for example, in accounting. I don't know any accountants, but I'm sure back in the day they used to wear a 3-piece suit with a tie and nice socks and nice shoes. Now they probably wear khakis and a golf polo. Times are just changing.
So I used to do the News 2 stuff or whatever, and I would wear a suit or I'd wear like a jacket and whatever. And I still do when I go into News 2 to do the hits with Corey. I'll wear a suit, but I had somebody tell me that's really into this stuff who was like, when you're just doing like a digital thing or you're doing it from your house, you don't need to wear a suit. You can wear like a just like a button down or a polo or just kind of
like
be
what
you.
You're wearing now.
Just
is
be
great.
you, right?
Yeah.
Just be you. And then when I did the NHL Network, he's like, "No, wear the jacket." And I was like, "Okay," because I was just sitting in my my TV room with a fake picture of Nashville behind me on the TV on NHL Network, and I was wearing like a button down and a jacket and he was like, "It's national TV." Like, so for national TV, you got to wear, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is college basketball. This is March. Like, get your suit on. You want to wear a quarter zip when you're playing in Maui and Thanksgiving, and it's like, I'll watch this before the Lions game that I have to watch because they won't kick the Lions off at Thanksgiving comes on. Okay. But don't be doing this when we got Kentucky and Duke. And, hey, mad props to Coach Cal, who I never used to like. Mad props to Coach Cal, who still wears a suit even if he never wears a tie anymore. I'm here for that. You don't want to wear a tie, you don't have to wear a tie. But can we get the suits back in college?
It doesn't bother me in the slightest.
Oh, it just bothers me to no end. I think it is so gross.
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 It is so dramatic.
Oh, it
does not affect you in one way or another.
No, it is
does not affect you in the slightest.
It is just so unbecoming of college basketball. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get back to more of your phone. 615-737-1025. Plus, we got an Eddie O'Reilly update, not just who's been donating, and we want to get those donations in today. Again, a Titans fan who was trapped in Ukraine who made his way out to Germany. But we got a good update to pass along. We'll do that next time on the company. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
from the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Mainly clear skies and chilly overnight as we drop back to the mid-30s. Our warm and sunny weather continues right into Tuesday. Highs in the mid-60s, reaching 70 by Wednesday. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
You need to hire? You need Indeed. Sponsor a post and instantly match with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Bank of England Mortgage has been helping Americans live the dream of home ownership for over 100 years. Since their humble beginnings in England, Arkansas in 1898, they've grown into a nationwide mortgage lender with 141 offices across 45 states, including 3 convenient locations right here in Middle Tennessee. Find out more at BOE1214.com. Bank of England Mortgage is a division of Bank of England Mortgage. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS 418-481.
For the love of Tennessee at dawn. For the love of the fight. For the love of having nowhere else you'd rather be. For the love of Tennessee. Travel safe. Brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
Hey, it's Jared for TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything will be taken care of, from covering your floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds, furniture, TVs, and more. They took great care of my move and made it as stress-free as possible. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit them at nashvillemoving.org/radio and get 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe of Darren, Donick, and Chase. I started my radio career as an intern right here at ESPN 102.5 The Game. Now we're looking for our next great batch of interns. You think that's you? Send your resume to together@cromwellmedia.com to apply today.
When you cut lawns for a living, reliability matters. The Kubota commercial lineup, with purpose-built mowers like the Z700 Zero-Turn, SZ Stand-On, and W-Series Walk-Behind, decrease downtime and increase productivity. A comprehensive fleet program with special discounts and free loaners helps grow your business one perfectly manicured lawn at a time. Visit your local Kubota dealer today.
Come see why Coleman Tractor Company is one of the largest Kubota dealers in Middle Tennessee, Paris, Clarksville, Nashville, and their new location in White House.
Inside knowledge on the Titans.
Todd Downey's got his notepad out right now, just writing things down. Ooh.
Inside knowledge on the Predators.
They can go right into the forecheck, and boom, you get a beautiful goal from Colton Sisson.
And then there's a team in Knoxville.
How excited should Tennessee fans be by what they've seen from Josh Heupel in year one?
Wake up and hang out with Robbie and Rex Road. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10. Brought to you by Little Guys Movers on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and The Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
Stillman and Company is on. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
So somebody is just texting into the text line and says that Villanova basketball coach Jay Wright would always be dressed in the nicest suits, but the Big East Conference coaches voted to go casual. Jay loves the casual look because it's more comfortable to coach in a quarter zip than a suit. From a proud alum, let me just say I have voiced my displeasure to Jay about this.
And how was it received?
I don't know. I was through an intermediary who was very, very high up at Villanova and is now very, very high up somewhere else. And I have voiced – if you think that this is the only forum that I voice my displeasure with the coaches not wearing suits,
I am certain that this is not.
You need to understand. I mean, it goes right to the top.
I mean, I know you better than that.
I mean, like, I do not turn this off. I think people don't understand. It's not like I say things on the radio and then all of a sudden I don't say them in real life. I mean, it is absolutely that way. So we had some more shout-outs to give. Again, Eddie O'Reilly, a Titans fan who was in the Ukraine. His wife is Ukrainian. She did not want to leave. Their daughter, their dog, they ended up leaving yesterday via bus at the last possible second. They got out. They got to Romania. Their goal was to Germany. We've got a GoFundMe of Titans fans that are supporting Eddie and his family at this time. We're up to $5,200. Again, their goal is $10,000. We're just going to try to raise as much money as we can today. I don't care how much. If it's $1, if it's $5, if it's anything you can donate. Again, he was right there in the middle of Kiev. So whatever you can give, please give. And I promised that we would give shout-outs for the people. Anybody who donates while we're on the air is getting a shout-out. So Neely Andrews gets a shout-out. Shout-out to Neely. And, again, let me say, the GoFundMe is pinned to the top of my Twitter page. So just go ahead and click that. And if you're a podcast listener and you listen back to this, then it'll be up there until tomorrow. Neely Andrews, shout-out to Neely.
Shout-out to Neely.
Derek Pell, big shout-out to Derek.
Thank you, Derek.
Maurice Johnson, big shout-out to Maurice. And Colin and Austin Willett. And Craig Woolley as well. Shout-outs to all those people, again, donating. And hopefully Eddie will be able to hear all of this now that he's, no longer in a war zone. He'll be able to hear all of this, which we are super pumped about. And as he said, he sent a tweet earlier to me. In fact, let me go ahead and pull this up because I do want to pull up the update from Eddie as his family traveled out of the Ukraine yesterday into Romania. He said, here you go. This was 43 minutes ago on Twitter. Quote, quick update until I sleep for 2 days. We have arrived at the Airbnb in Bucharest, which I believe is Germany, which was sponsored by a woman in Germany, Ann Waske, who is a Titans fan in Germany.
All right, tighten up.
I appreciate you all so much. My family is safe because of every one of you. We are going to sleep finally. Hashtag Tighten Up. Now, he sent me a message earlier, and I'm trying to find it, and said, this is so awesome. My family and I are safe tonight because of acts like this one. Jared, thank you so much for your help. So there you go.
Really cool.
So we're trying to do what we can. Again, I've already donated to it. If you can, I understand. And I'm not pressuring anybody to do anything they don't want to do. But I thought about it today. I really thought about it last night. I was like, is this something that I want to talk about on the radio, that I want to make a big deal about? And I decided the answer was yes, because I thought to myself, would Floyd want us to do this? And I think undoubtedly the answer is yes. I think Floyd took a lot of pride in the can-do attitude of Nashvillians, and I think he obviously truly respected Titans fans, probably unlike anybody else. So I decided that this is something that Floyd would want us to do, so that's why I'm doing it. Bucharest, according to Ian, is in Romania. So
okay.
There you go.
There we go. Brush up on my European geography.
Let me tell you what, I've learned a lot more about history than I had known in the last 6 days. And again, I think there's two kinds of Americans, like naturally born Americans. I think there's the people that understand the privilege that it is to be born American and the freedoms that come with it and the ability to do things that we want to do. That we have jobs like talk on the radio about sports. And then I think there's the other side of it, which is, the people that are born in America and look down on everybody else and are like, well, sorry, you're not American. And I don't operate like that. I think that being American is something to be incredibly thankful for. And I am. So there are a couple quarterback nuggets that I want to get to. Did you see what Zach Kiefer, the Colts reporter, reported over the weekend?
I'm not sure.
Colts are done with Carson Wentz, and that the off-the-field stuff is just as important as the on-the-field stuff.
Interesting.
And he did not elaborate into that.
And I can assume that that's probably what? Vaccine-related?
I don't think it's vaccine-related. I think this goes back to...
Locker room-related?
I think it goes back to that. The fact that, remember those reports that were like, some unnamed people on the Eagles think that Foles is a better leader and that Wentz isn't a very good leader. And that turned into the, if you're going to say unnamed sources, you should put your name on it, which I think is just such a load of bullcrap. Then there was the vaccine issue. But remember when they switched to Jalen and all the players were like, yeah, Jalen Hurts, this is the leader that we needed. I think Carson Wentz has a bad reputation for leadership. And I think that Jim Irsay didn't like the vaccine stuff, but I think he didn't like the other stuff too. And I think he's seen enough. And I think he told his coach and general manager, I want this guy out of here. And I think he's going to be out of here. The second quarterback-related thing that I want to get to. This freaking Kyler Murray. I mean, I cannot stand this guy. And this is coming from somebody who honestly had no serious thoughts or opinions about Kyler Murray 2 months ago. I didn't even think about him. Like, it just wasn't, he's on the Cardinals, and he's not good enough to be a good quarterback, but he's not bad enough to want to get rid of him, and they're probably going to have to pay him, and he's probably never going to be that good, but maybe he'll be like Matt Ryan and win an MVP one year, and they'll have a good team and whatever. Do you see what this guy did today?
Yes, I did.
So his agent puts out a letter, and it's basically like the team stunk before Kyler got here, and now they're good, and now Kyler wants to get paid. And I think that's the gist of the letter, because I didn't actually read it. Because
I read it.
I refuse to indulge in the NBA level of drama and gossip that is this loser.
I read it. I'm not above drama and gossip. I love it. And it was essentially...
Not at that position.
It was, yes. Like, you saw what the Arizona Cardinals were before Kyler Murray was here. And now you see, an 11-win season with Kyler Murray at the helm. He wants to win a championship for Arizona. He wants to be the future of Arizona. And he wants to make sure that he gets that same level of commitment from the Cardinals themselves.
A funny story. Floyd told me one time. We were driving back from the Combine, and he was a little tired, and that was when you could get the best stories out of him. And he told me
Taking
a story
advantage of the old man.
about trying to work out contracts with Tom Brady. And he said the hard part was you'd get on the phone with Don Yee, and you'd say, Don, what do you want to do? And he'd say, well, Tommy wants to know what the team needs. And he'd be like, well, the team needs to know what Tom wants so that then we can decide, how to allocate the other assets once we've got the quarterback figured out. And that this back and forth would go on and on because Don Yee would go to Tom, and Tom would be like, well, how much money do you think we should ask for, and how much money do you think that they need, and how much do you... That's not the gist I got from this letter. This letter was, I don't care if we have J.J. Watt. I don't care if we have A.J. Green. I don't care if we have Christian Kirk. I don't care if we have DeAndre Hopkins. I want my money. And I find this to be very off. I find Kyler Murray to be very off-putting at the quarterback position.
He's whiny.
And you can't win like that. And I'll give you another example with Brady. Chandler Jones came out this year and said that he unfollowed Kyler Murray on Twitter, and he was asked why. And he said, well, I asked Kyler to follow me, and he didn't follow me back, so I unfollowed him. And you're thinking, well, like, who cares?
Right.
Chandler Jones has played for two teams, Patriots and the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
You know who follows Chandler Jones?
Tom Brady.
Yeah, he does. So you want to win championships, but you don't do what the guy who wins championships does. You do what the losers do. You're mad at your team because you want a contract. You know what you do? You have your agent call the team and say, we want a contract. Mm-hmm. And you don't tell a freaking soul. You know what you don't do? Wipe your social media clean of your team.
And put out this long, dramatic letter.
Everything he does is worse. I freaking cannot stand this guy. I feel bad for the people of Arizona. Because this guy's not good enough. I mean, he's not good enough to, carry a team across the finish line. But he also just, he truly represents zero elements of being a good leader. And you remember what you heard when you heard those people come out and say that, the Cardinals say he's usually the last person in, first one to leave, and all kind of checks out. So if you want to try to win with Ben Simmons, good luck. You want to try to win with Kyler Murray? Good luck. I'll take Brady. You take the guys that all of a sudden, it's too much for them. 615-737-1025. You know who's also a pain in the ass?
Who?
LeBron.
Yep, he is.
And you look at his team right now. They stink. 615-737-1025. The Combine begins tomorrow, which means it is officially time for us to do what I call the quarterback carousel. We will make our official quarterback carousel predictions next, and we're giving away Garth Brooks tickets next hour. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Take us wherever you may go.
There are two guys on my untouchable list.
Tune us in anywhere, anytime.
Every team's got those. That's my point.
Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
At Cordell & Cordell, we focus on representing men in domestic relations cases.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
We recognize that our clients are going through perhaps the toughest time they will ever go through. We understand that everything that's important to them is on the table. Their assets, the role in their children's lives, That's an immense responsibility that our clients entrust us with, and we take that very seriously. We've been trained to do that. We've helped thousands of clients before, and it's our hope that you'll choose to entrust us with what's most important to you.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Nashville area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 615-457-8700. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Offices in Nashville, Franklin, Murfreesboro, and Gallatin. Cordell & Cordell, 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe, Program Director at 102.5 The Game, and when our crew is out, we want to look our best. Thankfully, we have Authentically American taking care of all of our apparel. The way your team looks is everything. Enhance your company's image with the help of veteran-owned and operated Authentically American. For you parents out there, they'll take care of your kids' team apparel too. It's Authentically American, and yep, it's made in America. Check them out at authenticallyamerican.us. Mention the game and they'll handle the setup and artwork free of charge. That's authenticallyamerican.us.
Hey, it's Elijah Campbell from Darren, Donick, and Chase, and I got my radio start right here as an intern at ESPN 102.5 The Game. It was an excellent experience, and we're now looking for new interns. If you think that's you, go ahead and send your resume over to together@cromwellmedia.com to apply.
And now a message from Puffs Tissues. It's that time of year when spring's in full swing and explosions of life make allergies really zing. Each sniffle and swipe can be a moment of dread as ordinary tissues make noses angry and red. So keep Puffs by your side to soften all your blows. With Air Puffed Magic, they'll cushion your nose. Especially during allergy season, a nose in need deserves Puffs indeed.
Wait, aren't these all charitable donations?
At Magda's Tax Prep, every person
I'd
counts.
rather not have to file for an extension.
She needs new auditors to maximize returns on her family time.
On itemized deductions. Hey, can someone help with these 1099s?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are still taking up donations for Eddie O'Reilly, the Titans fan that has fled the Ukraine. He is going to apparently sleep for the next 2 days at an Airbnb in Romania. And then will be on his way to Germany with his family, his wife, his young daughter, as they are fleeing and they have officially gotten out of Kiev. Thank goodness gracious. And we're just approaching that $6,000 number. Again, they're looking for $10,000. Anything you can donate would be much appreciated. And as we said here, we got a big donation from an anonymous donor. $300. Shout out.
Wow.
Shout out to Anonymous. $300. We are going every single donation that we get. And again, you go to my Twitter page and you can click it right there. You click that GoFundMe link. You can get right into it. And every single donation that gets made during the course of the radio show today, we will shout out. And then you know what? Tomorrow at 2 o'clock, we'll give a shout out to everybody who has donated since then, because we don't know who's listening on podcast and everything else that could be listening. So it is time now for our official annual quarterback carousel picks. And so what we're going to do is Ian's going to have a team, and then he's going to spin the wheel, and it's going to end up on a random team. And then we are officially going to have to decide who we think will play quarterback for that team, because I think the movement will start this week. I think it will start with Indianapolis as the first chip to fall. And I have put 10 teams on this list. Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Seattle, Indianapolis, New Orleans, Carolina, Washington, Pittsburgh, Denver, and Tennessee. And the question is, who is starting week 1 for that team? Ian, spin the wheel.
Okay, the first team our lucky wheel has landed on, the Washington Commanders. Who do we think will be starting week 1 for Washington?
Caroline, go first.
Week 1, Carson Wentz.
Oh!
I do think that Washington is going to look at drafting and developing a quarterback in this year's draft. Matt Corral, perhaps, but they don't want him starting week 1, day 1. I think that Washington picks up Carson Wentz on a short deal, nothing massive. He is starting week 1 for the Washington Commanders as they develop their quarterback that they draft this year.
I was tempted to go with Cam Newton.
Interesting.
Because Ron Rivera's the coach, so I was tempted. But here's what I thought. Deshaun Watson's got a quarterback somewhere. I'm going to go Deshaun Watson to Washington. Because if there is any team that doesn't care about Deshaun's transgressions, it's Washington.
It's Washington.
It's Washington. And you know Snyder, what Snyder wants is he wants them to win so that all the attention will go off of him. So he will spend as much money as possible and as many draft picks as possible, and he will do everything short of trading Chase Young in order to get Deshaun Watson. I thought about Teddy Bridgewater, but I decided, you know what? Deshaun's got to play somewhere. Give me Deshaun in Washington.
Okay, lucky team number 2. This team will most likely need a new quarterback as well. Tampa Bay.
Okay, I went Teddy Bridgewater.
Okay.
And it was tough because, Arians is no risk it, no biscuit. And Bridgewater is, he's safe. He's not going to do too much. He's not. But what I think Bridgewater can do for them is he can get the ball to Mike Evans and the tight ends. Godwin is gone. AB is gone. Gronk is probably going to retire. And I think they're going to run the football and throw the ball to Mike Evans. I think what they'll want is they'll want Teddy Bridgewater to come in there and play quarterback until Kyle Trask is ready. I'll go Teddy Bridgewater.
I'm actually going Deshaun to Tampa Bay. Because who, other than Washington, doesn't care about the track record of a player? The Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I think that Tampa Bay has had the taste of success, and Deshaun Watson absolutely, if he is cleared and if he is ready to play, is someone with a track record for success. So I think that Deshaun Watson comes into Tampa Bay.
Okay, next team. Going out west a little bit here. Seattle Seahawks.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I think Russell Wilson, too. I don't buy this Twitter thing.
I mean, and that's another thing. I'm so over the sassy, passive-aggressive remarks on social media, Kyler Murray included. Him changing his Twitter picture, taking the Seahawks out of his Twitter bio. I don't think Russell Wilson's going anywhere.
This is how these freaking guys communicate nowadays.
I know.
We have to pay attention to it. We can sit there and be like, this is so childish, which it is, but this is how.
But this is them sending a message.
These people communicate now.
Because they're not going to sit down at a press conference and say, hey, you know what? I'm unhappy in Seattle. No. So how else are they going to do it? Project it on social media. And it gets the attention. I turned on Get Up this morning. That was exactly what they were talking about, was Russell Wilson's Twitter bio.
I just think Russ doesn't like being the bad guy.
Yeah.
And that if he were to pull out of Seattle, he'd be the bad guy.
And he doesn't want to, he doesn't want to be dramatic.
I went with Russ, too.
Yeah. Russ is staying in Seattle for me.
Spin the wheel.
Okay, a lot of talk about these guys in the offseason. Denver Broncos.
So I think Denver's going to get screwed.
Oh,
Because
no.
I think they want Rodgers so bad, and I don't think they're going to get Rodgers. Carson Wentz.
Ooh.
It's the only way they can tell themselves that it's better than Drew Lock or Bridgewater. Mm-hmm. Even though I'd rather have Bridgewater than Wentz, because I think Bridgewater is a leader and I think Wentz is a bum. Carson Wentz. The wild card for them, though, Kirk Cousins. Remember, the general manager's from Minnesota, and so they could probably, work out a deal and then convert some of that money to signing bonus, and they got cap space. But I'm going to go Carson Wentz in Denver.
So this one was tough for me. Kirk Cousins was also on my list as an option for Denver, with a little asterisk for number 2. But I think ultimately it will be Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is so over Green Bay. I think that everything that he has done this past year in Green Bay has just pointed all signs toward leaving. Last year, I thought Aaron Rodgers was going to stay because all of the power was with the Packers. This year, Aaron has all the power. And that Instagram post, if it meant anything to me, if anything resonated with me, it's that he was already halfway out the door in Green Bay.
I thought that too, but I'll explain.
And it feels obvious.
I'll explain at some point why I've changed my mind on Aaron. Hit that next team for me, Ian.
Okay, another NFC team here. To the New Orleans Saints.
Nobody has been getting disrespected in this entire process more than Jameis Winston. I mean, he won some freaking games last year.
Yeah, he did. And we saw what happened with the New Orleans Saints whenever Jameis Winston got hurt.
Oh, yeah, the Saints would have made the playoffs if Jameis Winston had been healthy. I don't love Jameis Winston. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a huge Jameis guy. But, I mean, for Jameis to have the season he had, then get hurt, and then everybody just forget that Jameis was winning games in New Orleans. And then for the coach, who he signed up to play for as a backup and then was playing okay with, to then bolt on him, I think is kind of tough. The Saints have, by the way, worked their way from the $70 million in the hole to like $45 million in the hole.
Interesting.
Which tells you that all the salary cap stuff, the NHL is a real cap. The NFL is a fake cap. And that somehow the Saints are working through this. Jameis, I'm saying, stays in New Orleans.
I don't know if Jameis is going to stay in New Orleans, but that doesn't give New Orleans very many other options. So I have Taysom Hill as a starting quarterback in New Orleans because they've just invested way too much money in him to not at least utilize him a little bit.
What a Ponzi scheme of a player.
Right? I do think that the Saints ultimately end up drafting a quarterback, whether they think that that quarterback is going to be the future of their franchise or not. I do think that they need a little bit more depth at the quarterback position. But, I mean, the Saints are just kind of a mess. They don't have a head coach. And I have seen Russell Wilson's name floating around as, New Orleans a potential landing spot for Russell Wilson. Absolutely no shot Russell Wilson leaves a pretty solid and pretty stable organization in Seattle and then goes to New Orleans where the coach is a big fat question mark. So I do think that Taysom Hill will start for the Saints week 1.
Taysom Hill, he sucks.
Taysom thrill, baby.
I mean,
making so much money and for what?
Here's the thing that's crazy. Jameis would be perfect in Tampa Bay. I mean, they wouldn't win a ton, but like the experience of having Sat and Sean Payton, and then I think Jameis is probably a better player.
They're not doing that.
But Jameis is not going.
They're not doing that.
But it's a better option than freaking Teddy Bridgewater, probably.
Deshaun Watson.
Well, yeah, I mean, but Deshaun. I think
I'm using this as I'm operating under the circumstances that Deshaun will play in the fall.
All right, we got Tampa Bay, Seattle, New Orleans, Washington, and Denver, which leaves Green Bay, Indianapolis, Carolina, Pittsburgh, and, of course, the Titans. So we'll do that on the other side. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025, right here on Stillman & Company. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. Love those guys. And one of the things I love is that you can bet your favorite sports with a new player props or game props that you like. And what's cool about FanDuel is you can combine prop bets from multiple games and now even multiple sports. So, for example, you can take it's called the Same Game Parlay Plus, and you can find them on FanDuel. So you take NBA player props and put them with your favorite NHL scorers for a chance to score an even bigger payout. So literally, you can have a parlay that is Ja Morant, who, by the way, is ball-in, with Philip Forsberg attached to it. And if you don't want to build your own same-game parlay, check out their popular same-game parlay section where you can join the bets that other users are jumping on. Last month, over 14,000 customers won a total of $1.1 million during the Bucks at Lakers game. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up with the promo code JGM and get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. So you make every moment more and download the FanDuel Sportsbook app using the promo code JGM so they know that I sent you. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issue is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
Here they come, turn 4, final lap.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe. Join me for Chasing Checkers every Sunday morning at 8, and you can hear some of the big names in racing, like Denny Hamlin.
I always like to undersell and overdeliver.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
It would be amazing to watch a Cup race compete there again.
Kevin Harvick.
I think we learned a lot.
And several others. It's Chasing Checkers every Sunday at 8 on ESPN 1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Winter's a bad time for your furnace to go out, but it's never a bad time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Your home value is way up. You can use that money now to pay off credit cards or remodel your house, or both. Hey, Willie Donner for Loan Pronto. Loan Pronto can convert that home equity into cash as little as 2 weeks from now with no cost to you and zero hassle. Mike and Joan in Brentwood called Loan Pronto and they did a Loan Pronto zero cost cash out refi. They got a check for $100,000. They used $50,000 to pay off all of their credit cards and a car loan. Use the other $50K to upgrade their master bath and kitchen. They locked in a new APR in the 2s and lowered their total monthly bills by hundreds of dollars. Hello? What are you waiting on? Call Loan Pronto now and convert your home value into cash. Put that money to good use. Do it now, and you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780 or lowpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Parman Tractor and Equipment is your one-stop tractor and equipment solution. And Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. Rent or purchase a track loader, mini excavator, large excavators for your job site, or something in between. Parman is now hiring and seeking qualified candidates for construction equipment truck drivers, service technicians, and more. Apply at parmantractor.com or call 615-865-7800. Come be an employee owner with the Parman team, your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
Stillman and Company, I got an interesting text here as we do our quarterback carousel. Sean Henry of the Predators, team president, CEO, he wants the New York Giants added to the quarterback carousel wheel.
I don't
as
think
a
so.
big Giants fan. Here's my question for him and all the Giant fans out there. How do the Giants not have any cap space?
Who are they paying?
I mean, it's like, yeah, we got some. I saw their new general manager, the guy from the Bills, is like, we got some tough decisions to make. I'm like
what?
Like, who's on that? I mean,
Like, how did it not be bad?
Do you know what's funny? I remember too. Ian, do you remember last year when the Titans cut Adoree Jackson because they didn't want to pay him like $10 million, so they cut Adoree Jackson. And the Giants signed him to like a $40 million contract.
Well, yeah, they signed Adoree Jackson, who was a terrible deal, and then they signed Kenny Galladay.
Oh, yeah, with a bad hip.
Oh, that's a terrible deal.
Peepaw hip. All right, so here's what we got. We got the quarterback carousel going right now. We've already picked. Ian's got his super secret randomized wheel. We've already picked Tampa Bay. I've got Teddy Bridgewater starting there next year. Caroline's got Deshaun Watson. We both picked Seattle, Russell Wilson. New Orleans, I go Jameis Winston. She goes Taysom Hill. Washington, I go Deshaun Watson. She goes Carson Wentz. Denver, I go Carson Wentz. She goes Aaron Rodgers. Ian, please spin the wheel for us.
Okay, we will start Carolina Panthers. Very interesting situation here.
This is a tough one. I'm going to let you go first.
I had a hard time with this one because I really don't know, what in the world is even going on in Carolina, and I think they have a lot bigger problems than just quarterback. I put Jameis Winston going to Carolina just because I needed a place to put Jameis. I mean, he's a solid quarterback. I mean, Carolina's been in the quarterback carousel incessantly over the past couple of years. They just want to find a quarterback so badly. I don't think that Jameis Winston is the long-term solution in Carolina, but I think they think it's not a very good quarterback draft. We'll find someone who can at least be serviceable for a couple years or maybe just a season. I put Jameis.
Okay. I went with Kenny Pickett. Like, somebody has to draft these quarterbacks, right?
But are they going to start day one? Like, are these quarterbacks ready to start day
he's
one?
He's been in college for 45 years.
Has he?
I think, didn't he go somewhere else and then transfer and then 5th year and then sign?
I mean, maybe so. I don't know. I mean, that Carolina is a tough one. They could really plug in anyone there, and I'd be like, okay. Like, Ryan Fitzpatrick, sure, go to Carolina.
Darnold's the backup.
Uh-huh.
Kenny Pickett's the starter. That's my take on Carolina. Spin the wheel.
All right. Pittsburgh Steelers.
So I went rookie again, Malik Willis. It sounds like they love this kid. Tomlin, unless they're just honestly trying to get everybody to think that they like Malik Willis so they can draft another quarterback. Apparently at the Senior Bowl, Tomlin was zooming in on him, kind of like that creepy dude that's got a crush in high school.
Yeah.
On Malik Willis. I think they'll take Malik Willis. They're not this Mason Rudolph thing. That ain't gonna happen. And Dwayne Haskins sucks.
I also had Malik Willis as an option. I do think ultimately Teddy Bridgewater will be the starter week one. I do think, the Steelers love Malik Willis. Absolutely love him. But I do think they need another option, like a viable starting option, because Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins are not viable starting options. They're terrible. Absolutely terrible. I think Teddy Bridgewater gets the nod week one.
Okay, so we've got Pittsburgh's out of the way now. So you're on Bridgewater in Pittsburgh?
Yes.
Woof. So, we got that out of the way. So we still have Indianapolis, Green Bay, and the Titans left to pick. Sean Henry's called in to defend the Giants, I guess, or I'm going to take the call because I had a good time at the Stadium Series game. So Sean Henry has called in. Sean, your thoughts?
Well, I'm not going to complain, except Caroline was my favorite person at 125 until she just burst out laughing at the mention of the Giants. That just hurts.
I'm sorry, Sean, but I got to be honest with you. What's not to laugh about?
Here's my thing on the Giants. If you guys had messed up the cap so bad, it's like when the Predators get close to hitting the cap, it's because the team is good. When the Giants to be at the cap and to have no cap space and be as bad as they've been for as long as they've been bad is perplexing to me. Who are you paying? Who are the Giants paying?
I don't even know. I don't know. I have nothing to even say anymore. Enjoy the rest of your day. I was going to call in and scream and yell, and now I'm like, oh, my gosh, you guys depressed me to no end. You're right.
There you go. Sean Henry. Hey, congratulations on a great weekend, by the way, Sean.
It was a great weekend.
Thank you. That was awesome. Awesome week. See you guys.
Yep, Sean Henry chiming in there.
A resident Giants fan.
I will say this about the Giants. I'd put them on the list if I thought any of these quarterbacks wanted to go there.
But I don't. I honestly,
you think Deshaun Watson's going to play for the Giants?
Absolutely
not. Hell no.
Man, you should see the cap hit numbers on some of these guys for the Giants. Leonard Williams, guess there's his cap hit.
13.5.
27.3.
No! Dude, that's like Ryan Tannehill. That is double. Honest, I think Derrick Henry is 13.5 this year. That is a double Derrick Henry.
What does he even do?
James Bradbury, DB.
Who the hell's that?
21.8 cap hit.
No.
Kenny Galladay, 21.15.
So this Dave Gettleman,
this is sad.
That guy, what a disgrace.
Inside linebacker, Blake Martinez, 14.
These guys aren't even freaking good.
Sterling Shepard, 12.4.
I'm just waiting for him to get to Jared Stillman. I should be making
Are you getting paid by the Giants?
Goodness gracious.
Am I? At this point, I gotta think they might be.
They let Logan Ryan do the freaking secondary, so it's probably something to it. Spin the wheel, Ian.
Gracious.
Okay, I'm interested on this one. Indianapolis Colts.
Caroline.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Ooh.
Because I don't know if the Indianapolis Colts would move on from Carson Wentz for anything less. And I think this free agent quarterback market is a whole bunch of quarterbacks other than Teddy Bridgewater that it just aren't as good as Carson Wentz. They're not serviceable upgrades. I think Indianapolis views Jimmy Garoppolo, just play in the NFC Championship. I think they view that as a step up from Carson Wentz. I think that's where he ends up. And I think that's an attractive landing spot for a quarterback.
Do you think Jimmy G's a step up from Carson Wentz?
No, but I think they view it like that.
If they really hate the off-the-field stuff, that there may be something to that.
I think they view Jimmy Garoppolo. If they just want Carson Wentz out of there.
Okay, so I looked at Indianapolis like this. Who does what they do, which is the Andy Reid system? Alex Smith is out. so he's not an option because he's retired. Nick Foles stinks too much, so he's not an option anymore. Andy Dalton. So,
but I mean,
you take the hit on Wentz.
Andy Dalton?
You take the hit on Wentz. You go with Andy Dalton. You get him another receiver and a tight end. And you got Pittman. And you tell Andy Dalton that whatever you do, you turn around and you hand that ball to Jonathan Taylor. And honestly, I think you can win that way. Like, I think, like, people were.
I mean, that's all we've really ever asked Ryan Tannehill to do.
When Chicago was losing this past year, and they were like, put in Fields. I'm like, Dalton gave them a better chance to win that game that day better than Justin Fields, even though Justin Fields probably has more talent. Andy Dalton gave them a better chance to win. I firmly believe that. And on the Thanksgiving Day game, Andy Dalton won because he was the only real quarterback that played in it. Because I think Goff was hurt, so I think Tim Boyle started that game. I mean, the Thanksgiving Day game.
Right.
Awful. And, or had COVID or something. And so I think Indy, they're going to say, hey, he fits the system. He's $5 million, $6 million, so we don't have to trade our offensive linemen away. We don't have to trade away Darius Leonard. We got money in free agency. I don't know why I picked Andy Dalton for this one. Maybe they can't do that. Maybe they can't convince the fans to go off a Wentz for Dalton. But I think that, hey, let's play it safe. Let's pick somebody that does what we do. Andy Dalton does what they do.
Interesting. I think that would be a really hard sell for the fans.
Hard sell.
Another name similar to Andy Dalton that I at least haven't thrown out there yet, but I know could be a candidate for the quarterback carousel is Mitch Trubisky.
Back to
not to Indianapolis. I'm just saying hypothetically.
This is what made me think about this, which was I saw that a lot of people were like ESPN had a list out of guys that, maybe it was their chance to get a second crack at it. And on their list of guys to get a second crack at it, like Mariota was on there and Trubisky was on there. And I'm like, no, Jameis is going to get a starting job before any of these guys get starting jobs.
Probably so, yeah.
So
I mean, I would rather invest in Jameis Winston than Mitch Trubisky or Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Ian, spin the wheel. The last two teams clearly very random here.
Green Bay Packers.
I went Aaron Rodgers. And I'm going to tell you why. Ian, can you get that Jeff Darlington for me? So in 2020, when it was all the Brady talk and Floyd was like, I don't think Brady's going to leave, Jeff Darlington put out there that he thought Brady was going to leave. And I'm like, Jeff Darlington is connected to Brady, and when Darlington speaks, it's not like this drivel the insiders that don't know anything like Dan Graziano say. It's like, just listen to what Darlington said this morning. I would have had Rodgers going somewhere else until I heard this. This is what Darlington said this morning.
Based on all of my conversations over the last several weeks, whether it's with people in the Packers organization, people close to Rodgers, people on other teams who are interested in Rodgers, this still feels like the momentum is decisively leaning toward Aaron Rodgers returning to Green Bay. And this goes back to the day that they hired Tom Clements as the quarterback's coach. That was the big one here. That was the first shoe to drop, essentially saying that the Packers are going to do the things that Aaron Rodgers wants to see happen. Everybody I've talked to have said that the conversations since the end of this season have been positive and optimistic. If they get Devontae Adams done, I would imagine that there's be some reassurances that Randall Cobb will be back. And then, of course, the contract, which the Packers also are willing to adjust to make Aaron Rodgers happy. So again, as long as things don't go sideways, Greeny, this still feels to me like Aaron Rodgers will return to the Packers.
Because I didn't buy it last time, I'm saying Rodgers to Green Bay.
So when I picked the next quarterback for Denver, I had another quarterback with an asterisk with it. I said Kirk Cousins, maybe Aaron Rodgers, most likely. And I put that asterisk there because I left a little bit of space for Aaron Rodgers to return to Green Bay. Although I don't think that's where he's going to be, I do think that is absolutely a possibility. But with the Packers, other than Aaron Rodgers, I had a big fat question mark. I have no idea. I have no idea.
You got to pick a starter?
I mean, I Jordan Love, I guess, is the obvious choice. I don't think that's what they want to do. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but I guess I'm just going to put my Jordan Love stamp on the Packers because I put Aaron Rodgers in Denver, but Green Bay was a really, really tough one for me.
Remember, some draft analysts thought that Jordan Love was going to be better than Justin Herbert, so...
draft analysts think a lot of things.
I'm just saying.
A lot of draft analysts thought Tua would be better than Joe Burrow, and that is not the case.
Including I was going to say including the people who drafted, but then again, I was thinking that was Herbert, not Burrow. Yeah, that one was pretty crazy. All right, the Titans are the last team on the wheel. Begrudgingly, Ryan Tannehill's going to start.
Ryan Tannehill's going to be the starter for the Titans. I mean, it's obvious. It's obvious. They have built a house in the Ryan Tannehill city. They're there. He's the quarterback for 2022.
And I hate saying it, but yeah, it's going to be Tannehill.
It's going to be Tannehill.
And you know what's crazy?
And it could be worse.
Like, so as soon as the game was over, well, we'll get to this next. You know, my true feelings about Tannehill returning as the quarterback. Because, again, we're putting Tannehill down as the Titans quarterback for next year. So, Caroline's got Jordan Love in Green Bay, Deshaun Watson in Tampa Bay, Russell Wilson in Seattle, Jimmy Garoppolo in Indy, Taysom Hill in New Orleans. Who do you have in Carolina?
Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston in Carolina, Carson Wentz in Washington, Teddy Bridgewater in Pittsburgh, Aaron Rodgers in Denver, and Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee. I've got Rodgers in Green Bay, Teddy in Tampa, Wilson in Seattle, Andy Dalton in Indy, Jameis in New Orleans, Kenny Pickett in Carolina, Deshaun Watson in Washington, Malik Willis in Pittsburgh, Carson Wentz in Denver, and Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee. I have Jimmy, by the way, in San Francisco, but I could totally be convinced out of that one. I'll get my thoughts on the Tannehill thing next. 615-737-1025. Stillman & Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi, and this is Smashville.
Going to the front of the net, he scores. What a gorgeous move. Roman Yossi.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Hey guys, it's the new year. Are you still struggling with erectile dysfunction? I've yet to meet anyone that enjoys timing those intimate moments around a pill. Well, now you don't have to. The advanced wave technology at Hillside Medical has been shown by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic to restore and even regrow blood vessels. It can improve circulation and eliminate erectile dysfunction. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED, call us in the next 2 minutes and you'll receive a consultation, assessment, and blood flow ultrasound free, plus a special gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. You're going to love that. Trust me. This is a $600 value, free to callers now. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, get rid of your ED and get that spark back. Call Hillside Medical now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
Hey guys, it's Mike from Newton Nissan. Can you feel that? Love is in the air. Maybe it's love for your significant other. Maybe it's love for Rome, your Bernese mountain dog. Maybe it's just love for chocolate. Wherever that love falls, this is the time to take it all in. But maybe take less of the chocolate in. So now that all the mushy stuff is out of the way, I'm going to tell you what we love. We love to help you. We love helping you find a new car when you need one. We love helping you keep your car running smooth with amazing service. We love partnering with you in the community to make a positive impact. Newton loves to help. We have a great selection of pre-loved vehicles on the lot for you right now. You can shop online and even start working your deal right now from your phone with Newton FastPass. Visit newtonnissan.com to shop or schedule service today. For the love of chocolate, see website for details.
The 2022 SEC Women's Basketball Tournament is back in Nashville as Bridgestone Arena hosts the annual celebration of SEC's Women's Hoops March 2nd through the 6th. Join us and experience the bright lights of the Music City as we crown a champion. Tickets are on sale now, so contact your university ticket office or head to secsports.com. SEC Women's Basketball. It just means more.
It's the official Bud Light Preds watch party as your Nashville Predators take on the Seattle Kraken Wednesday night. Puck drops at 9 p.m., but the party starts at 8:30 with all kinds of specials. See you at Headquarters Beercade downtown Nashville on 2nd Avenue. Go Preds!
Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee ensures children and teens, especially those who need us most, are ready to read, ready for class, ready to graduate, ready for their career, and ready to serve the community. You can support local youth and their great futures by donating at bgcmt.org.
Every Wednesday, it's me, Jared Stillman, against Joe Rexroad for Jared versus Joe. Brought to you by Parman Tractor and Equipment. Visit ParmanTractor.com, your Middle Tennessee link belt and Takeuchi dealer.
Hey, this is Pete Weber. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Which QB has the most to prove, though, at this week's Combine?
Randy, I think it's Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati. The Bearcats, they had that game against Alabama, that semifinal playoff game, where if he would have played well, I think he could have been maybe QB1, QB2. Now he's just battling to be QB4 or 5 and pushing him into the second round, not the first round. That inconsistent accuracy against Alabama, he was at 53%, Notre Dame 59%, Indiana 56%, overall at 65%, but that was against lesser competition. So I think that Alabama game in particular, Randy, was the game that really hurt Ridder. He needs to rebound during the process over the next couple months and try to maybe become the fourth quarterback taken, maybe ahead of Sam Howell from North Carolina. We'll have to see if that plays out that way. Best case scenario, I think, right now would be second round.
So I want to crap on Mel Kiper Jr., but Ian, didn't you always get the feeling that Floyd never cared what Mel Kiper Jr. thought?
Pretty much. I mean, any of these draft guys, to be honest, Floyd not a huge fan of.
No, but especially Mel.
Well, I'm sure he thinks they're fine guys, but the info we got to take with a grain of salt.
Bingo. And I was listening to that clip where he's like, Desmond Ridder, I mean, if he had played better in the semifinal, then he could be QB1, but instead he's going to be QB4 or 5. I'm like, what? Like, I mean, I remember Floyd telling me one time we were watching just on YouTube, like, games of these 2020 draft prospects because there was nothing else to do.
Right.
And so we were just watching this, and we watched Ezra Cleveland, a tackle. I forget where he went. He went in the second round, I think, in 2020. And we watched it, and I was like, what do you think? He's like, yeah, he moves nice. It probably looks more like a right tackle, left tackle. But, he goes, watch one game. I go, how many games do you need to watch of a player before you feel like you have a good feeling? He's like, I need 2 seasons. Wow. And I'm like, okay. Here's Mel. He played better in the semifinal than I think he would have been shooting up the draft board. And I don't think Mel's totally wrong.
But I also think that's very easy to say, that if he had played better in the biggest game of his career, then maybe he would have shot up in the draft boards. Like, I think that's very easy to say.
Well, I also remember Mel Kiper Jr. the day after Deshaun Watson single-handedly beat Alabama in the national championship game being like, yeah, I still have him as a third-round pick. I mean, I know he played great, but he lacks the things that are, I'm like, Deshaun Watson, like that guy? The guy that we've seen at Clemson dominate, that guy's a third-round pick? And then, of course, he was not. So here's my question. Was Ridder, whomever, these quarterbacks. If the Titans were to draft one of these guys in the first round, now that would mean that they probably have to trade up to get the guy that they want. So they probably have to use another asset in order to do that. They have to trade up, get the guy they want, presumably sit him on the bench because you and I in our quarterback carousel have the Titans going with Ryan Tannehill in week 1.
Yep.
That means no immediate help from your draft in the first or second round because your second round pick belongs to the Atlanta Falcons for Julio Jones. I don't know if that's a good thing. But then there's a part of me that's like, okay, if they were to draft a quarterback in the first round, Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis or Matt Corral or whomever,
Desmond Ridder, who loves Tannehill.
Then I know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Then I know that if they get into the playoffs next year and he throws an interception in the first pass, I can take him out of the game. And I am in favor of that. So it's a really tight rope to walk on. And here's the thing that kills me about the Tannehill stuff. I think the Titans deep down inside feel the same way I feel about Tannehill. But as we did get mad when everybody said, look at the dead cap number on Tannehill. There's no way they're going to get out of this. I think at the end of the day, the Titans probably feel that way. Like hey, we've already committed to him, so you know what? He's our guy this year. And we love all the other stuff about him other than the fact that he can't beat good teams We love the fact that he's a good October quarterback, although this past year he was not. We love that, whatever. And so they're kind of like going forward with Tannehill as the quarterback without really considering the alternative options because it's too hard. It gives them like a headache. So I think they'll draft another position instead of quarterback, and we won't get the comfort that we need, which is the light at the end of the tunnel. But I guess I would be comforted if they believed in a guy in order to pick the guy this year.
Yeah, I think it's tough because, you draft a quarterback, and if you're using a first-round pick on a guy, then you're investing in him. So if there's not a quarterback that the Titans are obsessed with in this draft, and I think that that's a very probable thing, if they're not obsessed with a quarterback in this draft, and maybe they are. But if they don't draft a quarterback, although we wouldn't get the immediate answer of what the future of the Titans quarterback position is, I have to think that down the line they have another plan at quarterback, whether that's, picking up a free agent, drafting a quarterback in 2023. Truly they're not looking to Tannehill to be the for sure starter.
Tannehill will not be starting.
Forward.
Tannehill will not start in 2023 unless he just plays out of his mind this year. I think that's where they look at, like, Rodgers will be available in 2023, and then they'll go out and get a guy.
Right,
as
just
essentially
if they don't draft a
mercenary.
quarterback this year, that's not the end-all, be-all. It would just give us a little bit of a more immediate solution to what the Titans are doing moving forward.
You know what's amazing to me is that the Packers, clearly, and I don't know what to believe. I saw somebody who knows a lot about the league who I feel like, deep down inside, I trust his opinion, though I don't know if this is true or not. He thinks Green Bay has been leaking all these things to the media about, look at all the things we did for Aaron to keep Aaron, not as a way to get to Aaron to tell Aaron that they want Aaron, but as a way to tell the fans, hey, we tried, he left. That kind of thing. But then there's a part of me that's like, they must think this Jordan Love sucks. They traded up in the draft to get him. He's been on the bench for 2 years. And they're not willing to play him? Now, I get Aaron's the MVP of the league, and even if they like Jordan Love is probably not the MVP of the league. But shouldn't you at some point want to put the guy? You didn't draft him to trade him. They did not draft him to come in here and motivate Aaron for 2 years, though it has worked. They did not do that to motivate Aaron to be the world's biggest a-hole, even though it has worked.
But if the Packers, if Aaron Rodgers does return to the Packers have to do something with Jordan Love. Is he just going to stay your backup forever?
Well, then you got 1 year.
Pick.
You have to pick up the 5th-year option before you even play him more than that Chiefs game. Now, they know more about him because they have him in practice and everything else. But no, they'd have to pick up the 5th-year option, decide on it before he plays a meaningful game.
And the one game that he did play wasn't so hot.
He was awful.
They've got a tough decision coming up with Jordan Love, but I think at this point, you used
it looks like
your
he's a bust,
first-round draft pick on this guy.
It
looks like he's a bust because he hasn't played.
Right, and the game he did play, he was bad.
He was bad,
and
but that's
so
one
desperate
game
to keep Aaron.
So it feels like he's
but
a
then
bust.
Again, Aaron's the
but also,
MVP of the league.
why would Green Bay not be desperate to keep Aaron Rodgers? Because he's Aaron freaking Rodgers. And I think any other team in the league would be doing cartwheels for the opportunity to have Aaron Rodgers. So, of course, Green Bay wants to hold on to him. It doesn't necessarily mean that Jordan Love is bad. It doesn't necessarily mean that Jordan Love can't start. It just means that Aaron Rodgers is the MVP of the league, and they want to hold on to him. And the one time we've seen Jordan Love, it wasn't so hot, but that was his only opportunity. So I don't know.
615-737-1025. That's back on the table. We have our final round of shout-outs today for the donations for Eddie O'Reilly, the Titans fan who has escaped Kiev and is now resting for 2 days in Romania before he, his wife, and kid head to Germany as they will try to take refugee away from Ukraine. We're trying to raise a little bit of money. We've raised a little bit of money. We're trying to raise a little bit more money, but we want to get some shout-outs today because we promised everybody a shout-out who does donate. I also promised some Garth Brooks tickets, so I will have a way for you to get those Garth Brooks tickets on the other side. as all is said and done today. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to get in. And we'll have an update on whether or not they're going to play baseball and, how does that make people feel? Who knows? Because apparently they've got a little bit of an update to get into as well. Hey, the Predators Foundation Wine Festival and Tasting is presented by Deacons New South, and it returns to Bridgestone Arena on Friday, March 11th. Sample over 225 high-end wines, enjoy delicious culinary creations from local restaurants, and bid in an extensive silent auction. Tickets start at $89. Visit nationalpredators.com/wine for more information.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Mainly clear skies and chilly overnight as we drop back to the mid-30s. Our warm and sunny weather continues right into Tuesday. Highs in the mid-60s, reaching 70 by Wednesday. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Are you a father that is passionate about your fundamental constitutional right to parent your own child or children? Has your parenting time or your income been affected by COVID? This is Amanda J. Gentry, and I am a fierce defender of your constitutional rights. The courts in Tennessee are under an obligation to maximize equal parenting time. We do not live in an every other weekend world anymore. At the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, fathers are extremely important, much like my own father was. Go to AmandaJGentry.com or call or text 615-604-6263. That's AmandaJGentry.com.
Did you know that every diamond at Genesis Diamonds is over 1 billion years old? That's before dinosaurs, even before some of the stars in the sky. These elusive stones were originally formed miles beneath the Earth's surface, each one born in a volcanic explosion, yet kept hidden for generations. It's a fact that for every 1 carat diamond at Genesis Diamonds, trained miners blasted through over 200 tons of rock, and skilled experts sifted through the rubble to find the highly sought-after rough diamonds. Then expert cutters spend untold hours shaping and polishing each stone, unlocking its beauty and fire and brilliance. From the hands of the craftsman direct to you, these magical stones are your piece of eternity. Precious, rare, unique, indestructible, and treasured all over the world. Oh, and the unbeatable prices at Genesis Diamonds? They're just a bonus. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes. Uncompromising quality, unimaginable value.
For the love of the climb. For the love of the fall. For the love of knowing your kids' laughter is the sweetest music there is. For the love of Tennessee. Travel safe. Brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
Since their doors opened in 1898 in England, Arkansas, Bank of England Mortgage has been providing down-home exceptional service. Bank of England's success is due to the talent of their loan officers and their access to hundreds of mortgage products at the industry's best pricing. Bank of England Mortgage has 3 Middle Tennessee locations ready to serve you. Go to BOE1214.com or call 615-823-1215. Bank of England Mortgage is a division of Bank of England Mortgage. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS 418-481.
Mashing journalism.
They are 2 scores behind you. The math says that increases your chances of winning.
With sports fandom.
I stayed up till 1:30 in the morning, just emotionally numb from Titans and Packers.
And sarcasm.
You guys are the worst.
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode are Robbie and Rexrode. No duh. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10. Brought to you by Little Guys Movers on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Great show today. I got some shout outs to give as we have been promising to do this all day. Here you go. All right. This is going to be hard. So Eddie O'Reilly, who fled the Ukraine, Saturday night was in the Ukraine. When I got home from the Stadium Series, he is a diehard Titans fan. He's with his wife and his kid in the Ukraine. He's posting videos. Saturday night, they went into shelter, and we got the audio from that. He posted a video on Twitter. Very scary stuff. He has fled Ukraine, took a bus yesterday out of the Ukraine. He went to Romania with a goal of going somewhere else. We've been raising money for him all day. If you are the first person to call Ian at 615-737-1025 and tell us where our new friend, Eddie O'Reilly, a diehard Titan fan, is planning to seek refuge from Kiev. You will be going to see Garth Brooks. You'll win a pair of tickets before you can buy them to see Garth Brooks at Nissan Stadium on Saturday, April 16th. Tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 o'clock at Ticketmaster.com/Garth Brooks. Honestly, I really wanted to use the Garth Brooks tickets as like a way to try to get more people to donate, but then I knew that was, getting a little hairy there. If you went ahead and did that?
Uh-huh.
So the first person to call Ian with the country in which our friend Eddie O'Reilly, diehard Titans fan, we've raised close to $2,000 since we've been on the air for his GoFundMe page, which you can see right there on my Twitter. It is pinned to the top, the link, the GoFundMe page for Eddie O'Reilly and his family as they have to start a new life in Germany until the war in Ukraine is over. If you can be the first person to tell Ian where he's headed, you are headed to Garth Brooks. So good luck to you in that regard. I do want to pass along this. There's so much stuff that we had on the grid today that we didn't get to, because of how much, great calls and texts and everything else that we had today. But I do want to get this. So, again, the baseball stuff, I don't think people here really care about there not being baseball games. I mean, I'll tell you what, in 1994, they cared. Now I don't think they care anymore. I just don't think baseball is that popular of a sport. So, Evan Drellick of The Athletic, who's been covering this, and you know what's funny? When you, cover stuff in sports, it's fun when you do, afternoon drive radio when your local team is in the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
It is not fun when you have to cover a bunch of jerks who are too busy, billionaire owners that are too busy bitching about all the stuff that really isn't that consequential. And these guys have to do this. So they're in the parking lot of a spring training stadium where the two sides are negotiating. And apparently Commissioner Rob Manfred, 34 minutes, was on the way back from the joint session to the owner's, kind of sideline. And he said, quote, "We're working at it." It also drove me insane last week when Manfred was not there for the talks. And it was on Thursday or Friday, Manfred was going. And I'm like, what the hell else does Manfred have to do? He's the commissioner
of the league, and it's locked out right now.
It's not like he's the commissioner of the ACC, where it's well, I got baseball, and I got basketball, and I got football.
No, you were the commissioner of the MLB, and the MLB is locked out.
There's one.
You on vacation, Rob?
What's more important?
Ian Maui, Rob? Are we interrupting your vacation?
And then when he showed up, they were like, "Yeah, no, this isn't that big of a deal," or something like that. I'm like, what? So does he not matter? I mean, I don't know. So, hoping baseball can pull through. So, again, as we've been saying about the Eddie O'Reilly stuff, we got some shout-outs to give here. As we promised, anybody who donated to the GoFundMe page, which you can find, again, on my Twitter, at Jared Stillman. It is pinned at the top. Eddie O'Reilly, we are literally $70, $63 to be exact as of right now, from getting it to $6,000. So it would be $2,000 that we've raised during this program for his $10,000 goal, again, seeking refuge in Ukraine. So shout-outs we got to give, because we promised shout-outs. And I think tomorrow we should give shout-outs at 2 o'clock for everybody who donates after the show's over, because people can watch on demand on YouTube or Twitter, or they can listen to the podcast. So we should give shout-outs there. But again, and by the way, congratulations to whoever won the Garth Brooks tickets. The answer is Germany. Congratulations to Brad, who's going to Garth Brooks, because our friend Eddie O'Reilly is seeking refuge in Germany. So here you go. Time to give some shout-outs. Stephanie Atkins, and by the way, you can donate anonymously if you don't want to do that. We got a $300 donation from somebody who was anonymous. I'm in for $1,000 on this. Burke Nihill, the president of the Titans, is in for $1,000, which is good to see. And Burke Nihill kind of stays out of the public, but you'll see him more as all the stadium stuff comes up. But shout out to Stephanie Atkins, who donated. Rebecca Larson, shout out to Rebecca.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Scott DeWaters, shout out to Scott. Ryan Anderson, shout out to him. Tabitha Ford, shout out to Tabitha.
Thank you, Tabitha.
Way to go, Tabitha. Anonymous, $50. Shout out to that Anonymous right there. Wait, you know what? Give it. Ian, can I get a little bit of an applause in the background here?
Sure, 1 second.
I might take a little bit of time, but I want to give a shout out on all this. It's either Damone or Damon Gooch.
Thank you, Damone.
There you go. Congratulations. Thank you.
Yay.
By the way, you can do this as I hate Jared Stillman, and you can say whatever you want as long as you donate under this, and I will read the name of whatever's there.
It's for a good cause.
Blake Davidson. Shout out to Blake. There we go. All right. Shout out to Blake.
Shout out, Blake.
And Dan Cotton. Shout out to Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
So, and apparently, I think we got another anonymous donator that's come in. I don't know this GoFundMe. It takes a while to update. But, again, we're going to
Also, Yessie Kett just donated, so thank you. Shout out to Yessie.
Way to go, Yessie. Yes, shout out Yessie. And, again, it doesn't have to be if you've got, if you've got $1 to spend. This is somebody who was forced out of their home. And I started the show today talking about this because when I saw Saturday night after I got home from the Stadium Series game, and I saw on Twitter that there is a diehard Titans fan who is with his family in hiding, underground because of the missiles and everything else. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, goodness gracious, I just went to an outdoor hockey game, and I complained because it was cold and I couldn't see great, at the game or whatever, and here's this guy who's, I don't even know how you sleep with all of this going on. And then you try to get out, and he said in the Instagram or on Twitter that they were just going to go to the train station on Sunday and wait for a train. Now, they ended up finding out that it was easier to go by bus than it was by train. I mean, this is like, I'm not sure I've ever seen anything like this in my life. I was born in 89, so like Desert Storm was right after that. Obviously, the Iraq War, the Afghan War, all that stuff. But again, this is like a country of people being invaded by a superpower. And I have to give the people of Ukraine a giant pat on the back because they have fought like hell. I thought that, the way it felt to me was like if Russia goes, like that's it. Goodbye, Ukraine. It is gone in 3 days, maybe. And that they were going to kill that president, Zelensky, and everything, and I am so proud of them. But to hear a Titan fan and then to see his Twitter and to see that before all this started, he was tweeting out videos of him playing Madden, him just playing the Titans.
Just normal
Guy's
life.
got a kid. Guy's picking up everything and moving right out and going right to Germany, and certainly something that, as I said earlier today, I thought would Floyd loved the fact that this show talked about sports. That was one of the things that we used to talk about all the time was like, hey, we talk about sports. We don't try to get too worked up one way or another talking about other things and things people don't care about. And, my weekend this weekend was this. And, like, one time we had a new boss. And the new boss was like, why don't you guys do that? And was like, well, we just like talking about sports. And we think that the people come because they want to hear about sports. And he was like, yeah, but anybody can talk about sports, but you guys are interesting in your relation. And I was like, I just don't think people care about that. And they especially aren't coming to me to get their thoughts on Ukraine versus Russia. I just don't think that they care what I think because that's not what I do. That's not my level of expertise. But this is a show that's for the fans. And so when there's a Titan fan who's trapped overseas and we can do things we can do to help them, I want to do everything in our power to be able to do that. And so I was really thankful that today we were able to do that. And again, keep those donations coming in. And anybody that we don't shout out today, we will shout them out tomorrow at 2 o'clock. As we're lucky enough to live our normal lives over here. So we're thinking about Eddie. We're thinking about any other Titans fans and any other people, period. But I thought to myself, would Floyd want us to do this? And I decided last night the answer was yes. So that's what I decided we were going to do. And honestly, I don't know how many people have clicked off their radio every hour that we've done this and we've given shout-outs to the people. Not sure I really care today. So, again, GoFundMe. It's right there on my Twitter page, at Jared Stillman. That's it for us. Preds Insiders breaking down the Stadium Series. Robbie's up next. We'll see you all tomorrow at 2 and with more shout-outs.